That's my baby. That's my baby.
We're going at it at 110%.
I just want 5 minutes of happiness, please. Just give me 5 minutes.
And they scored. They did it.
Left.
What the hell was that?
Oh yeah. What the fuck are you talking about?
Hi, folks. Bob Mannery here. You're listening to A2D Radio, real sports talk radio for the fans, by the fans, no agenda. These guys are the best in the business. Hashtag it. No notes.
What's up, fam? Thursday night live here on A2D Radio means birds of a feather coming at you live. Ready to talk some Philadelphia Eagles news. Lots of stuff that went down this week. Myself, Pete Evans, Tom Arnone, Jeff Warner. No Chucks this week. And I guess we could officially announce it, Jeff. You're officially part of the Birds of a Feather crew now going forward. So this is your official welcome to the crew.
Appreciate it. I'm glad to be on board. Say it's going to be a great off season, and let's get talking some birds.
Yeah, man, lots and lots to talk about. Before we talk birds, we got to talk our sponsors. We have the best sponsors in the business. Specialized Physical Therapy, physical locations in Burlington and Cherry Hill. You can find them on the web, specializedphysicaltherapy.com. No appointment necessary. So give our doc a call, Dr. Paul Vidal, and get all of your physical needs taken care of. Make sure your body's in tip-top shape. And also, guys, listen, tough time for everybody, emotionally, physically, everything going on. Us here at A2D Radio, we are very, very proud to support the Counseling Center and Sunrise Detox, guys. A lot of people dealing with mental health and addiction issues. One of our close family members here, Rob Lutman, has a lot of his hands down in there. And listen, they do a lot of good things for people. So if you or anybody that you know needs to reach out to somebody, that phone number right there is the number to call, 856-651-8117. Got to take care of yourselves at home inside here first and take care of everybody around you. So please encourage people to make that phone call. And our topic of conversation tonight, boys, we're going to talk about all the Philadelphia Eagles hirings here. The Eagles hiring a young coaching staff is worth the risk. Agree, disagree? That's brought to you by All Campus OC. Where'd he go? AllCampusOC.com. And listen, their physical location is going to be open pretty soon too, down at the Ocean City Boardwalk. But in the meantime, all your team hats that you need, you're going to use that promo code A2D, and we're going to get you 15% off. So make sure you guys are visiting allcampusoc.com and get yourselves taken care of. And I believe a little birdie tweeting around, a little rumor going around is you may be able to get some A2D merch. It's pretty soon over there. So make sure you guys keep an eye out for that. But gentlemen, another eventful week. Philadelphia Eagles, for the most part, have rounded out the majority of their coaching staff now, and we want to react to it. Obviously we talked about Nick Sirianni already, but we have our offensive coordinator, our defensive coordinator, we have our quarterbacks coach now. So I'd like to go around the virtual room here, and I want to get what your guys' opinions are. So we're going to go clockwise. We're going to go from the Blue Lagoon over to Mr. Pete Evans that way. Pete, let's see what you think as far as what we see from the Philadelphia Eagles.
Hiring a young coaching staff is worth the risk. I agree to the poll because I think this team is in a transition to get younger, and you're going to have younger players and new, fresher minds to create ideas. The thing about this staff, though, is they're young, but they're not young and experienced in the NFL. That's the difference. They've been in the NFL in some form or fashion. Outside of Brian Johnson, the QB coach that they just hired yesterday, but Steichen, Gannon, and Sirianni have been in the league for the last almost 10 years, 10 seasons. So from that standpoint, I don't feel like it's not like a Chip Kelly coming in. You know what I mean? Where they don't have any experience coming into the NFL. It's not even like a Doug Peterson coming in 2016. You know what I mean? This is more hopefully along the lines of Andy Reid hire in 1999. I mean, we all want the end result to be a mix between Peterson and Andy Reid. But for this team right now, what they're attempting to do, I definitely agree to the poll. I like the staff. I mean, I like the staff for all the reasons I just said why I agree to the poll, to be honest. And it's really, and if you look at it with Nick Sirianni coming in, if you look at the Colts offense, they kind of been in the middle of the pack. You look at the Colts defense, I mean, earlier this year, the Colts defense was the top-ranked defense in the league. Obviously, it wore down, but even in the Buffalo game, Josh Allen was a monster. They still kind of held their own. It was really came down to the last drive of the game for the Colts. So, Steichen, that's going to be the thing. That's I mean, we all know here it's no secret we got some quarterback bullshit going on right now in the Delaware Valley right now with the Philadelphia Eagles. You know what I mean? So that's going to be the biggest thing. You know what I mean? What's Steichen? Because you have the people out there who say Steichen, Justin Herbert, all his credit went to Steichen, and you also have people saying that Steichen didn't have a big part to play in it. It was like Pep Hamilton at the same time. And then you don't know who your quarterback is going to be. And then we have Brian Johnson, who was the Florida Gators. Was he the OC coach? Was he the OC there in Florida?
Yeah, he was the offensive coordinator and quarterbacks coach.
Right. So, and then obviously you got Kyle Trask, who's more along the lines of Carson Wentz. But guess what? He's known Jalen Hurts since he was 4. You know what I mean? So you could draw all these parallels and these lines, and I think the coaching staff in a way put themselves in a position where they didn't back themselves into a corner to make a decision and commit to either Wentz or commit to Hurts. I mean, last week, just based off the hire, everybody thought, okay, well, Carson Wentz is going to be a quarterback moving forward. Jalen Hurts is done. And now you go and hire a QB coach that has personal ties to Jalen Hurts. And now it's like, you don't know, like it's a good thing and it's a bad thing because you don't know which direction this team is heading as far as a QB, which ultimately, I know Chrome was being facetious 3 weeks ago when he said at number 6 they're going to take a quarterback. I had no idea what they're going to fucking do at number 6 now, to be honest with you, because it seems like they don't. If they really keep things close to the vest, which they should, because an organization doesn't leak like how much. Well, you know who leaks it here for the Eagles, but now if they're going to keep things close to the vest, it's like now we may have to work a little bit harder to try to formulate our opinions to see what direction this team is really going.
Don't you think to your one point, and then Jeff, go ahead, but like, don't you think to your one point, like you can draw parallels and conclusions to like all the hires. Like, okay, yeah, like the QB coach, you know, he has ties to Jalen Hurts, but this whole coaching staff, in a way, seems all brought in for Carson Wentz. So it's like really weird that you can see like both. That like they keep us on our toes is the point. Like we don't know really what side they're leaning towards, but I as of right now, I assume they're leaning towards $128 million. And a $50+ million cap hit, but I have no idea what they're thinking 2 years from now at this point, and that's going to all depend on how he plays.
Yeah, I think the fact that Brian Johnson knew Jalen Hurts since he was a kid, it's just an overblown assumption that I would say the reason he's being brought in here is to work with Jalen Hurts. He's being brought in here to coach the quarterbacks and to develop these quarterbacks. So our quarterback play, whether it was Wentz or Hurts, was not up to par of what we expect from our Philadelphia Eagles team. So as far as the poll, I agree. I'll say, what do you have to lose in investing in this quarterback, or in this coaching staff? Like Pete said, I'll say we're somewhat in a rebuilding process, like Lurie and Howie Roseman has said, and it's age is just a number to me. What I look at is the experience factor, and I'll say, most of these coaches, I would say, Shane Steichen and Gannon, they both have 10+ years of coaching at the NFL level, whether it was an assistant or position coach. As coordinator, whatever it was, but I'll say they have the experience, and that's why I want teachers. I'll say the big thing we hear about Sirianni is that he's a teacher. I want guys in here to teach, because the one thing that I'll say Doug has lacked and his coaching staff lacked, especially with young talent, they weren't developing players. I would say we don't know if the draft picks were bad, like we brought up before. I would say, yeah, Hallie might have made a bad pick, but it's ultimately up to your coaching staff to develop these young guys. And I feel with some fresh faces in here, I would say we might have that. I would say I'm excited about Gannon. I would say, like Pete said, they're Colts defense last year. They played well. I would say he brings that defensive back familiarity, and I would say he brings that not similar style, but he brings a more aggressive style that we did not see with Jim Schwartz. We're going to see a lot more blitz packages that we did not see when Schwartz was here as defensive coordinator. The big question is, I would say, who's going to be calling plays? I would say, because Steichen, I would say he has supposedly the experience calling plays with the Chargers last season, but he didn't have that much success. I would say you look at the rushing offense. They didn't have much success. Which, granted, I understand Austin Eckler was hurt. Kelly was hurt, so he had to work with what he had to work with. And a lot of people didn't credit him, like Pete said, for the development of Justin Herbert. That was more Pep Hamilton getting a lot of the credit, and the fact that the fan base in Los Angeles for the Chargers is not upset that he left. So what does that say about his coaching? But it's basically a wait and see approach. So what do you have to lose? I feel we have to wait and see what these guys can do. I would say it's too early to judge them before they even step on that football field.
Now, like real quick time before you go, to the people who want to say Steichen Hamilton with the credit to Herbert, listen, strip that shit away, because the QB has to execute, right? We're just simply talking about play design. So even if it's Pep Hamilton or Steichen, if Steichen is in there designing the offensive plays, that's what we were missing. Whether it be Carson Wentz kill, just poor execution with a line, receivers not getting open. I've always said this from day one. The best offensive minds in this league, regardless, it can be me behind a quarterback, they can get a motherfucker 5 to 8 yards open. If you give me a full wide receiver set and throw some motion in there, you can create space to get somebody open. Almost like a pick and roll in basketball. You can do that. So with that play design, if Steichen was a part of that, I'm curious to see, as you very well said, Jeff, because Sirianni doesn't necessarily have to call the plays, because just because you're the head coach now, you have to call the plays. Give it to the guy that has experience doing it.
Yeah, that's what you would hope, right? You would hope for that. I don't know which direction Chrome's going to go, and I'm more where you guys are at, but we can't. I'm not going to sweep the board here on a disagree radio and be like, I'll disagree for more reasons than just like what can happen on the field. One, I don't know how I feel about this roster, which could equal failure right now. Obviously, we just don't know. I just got to wait and see. Just like this whole thing is a wait and see, like Jeff said too. I mean, I don't know. Like, I was more excited about Doug than I am this, but I lean towards liking them being younger. But then there's a flip side of that, where all the control just even goes more upstairs, right? Because you hired a young coaching staff. And then that concern now hits me, right? But that these guys are going to be dictating who's playing. All these reports that we did hear last year that we assumed, man, are these true? Like, we were wondering, are these reports true? So you see all that. You see all that stuff, and the pool between coaches in here and upper management. And then you go and bring in young guys who obviously don't have the experience of being a head coach, have plenty of coaching experience, but being the head guy, no. And then being a younger guy, now are you going to be more easygoing in terms of letting them dictate what's going on and not have your hands in things in terms of what players and doing some of the grocery shopping, right? Or now does the grocery shopping really just fall on Howie Roseman? So that's a concern. And the other concern of being a young coach is if you're not having success early on, you can lose teams too.
Yeah.
So I mean, there's that side of it too, not just in this year. So I mean, I don't know. It's a wait and see, obviously. And I don't hate the hire. I don't love the hire. I don't hate the staff. I mean, probably my favorite hire out of the whole thing is offensive coordinator from the Chargers, because he had success with Herbert right away. So, I mean, that entices me. Now, granted, they got skill position players on the outside that make plays, but that entices me. But besides that, I'm not like overly in love with any of these hires. Right. They're young guys who could be great, but like usually when you go like to the young hire, it's a guy who just had like a ton of success, right? And it's like, I don't look at Indianapolis as a ton of success. Like I know they went through Jacoby Brissett. I get that. But like Phillip Rivers, I know he's on the downside of his career, but their play calling was extremely questionable in that Buffalo Bills game and a couple of times down the stretch. where they stopped running the football. They went away from the run. They became pass happy, and their fans called them out on the same stuff too. So we just went and took their whole offensive staff. We took a guy out their defensive staff, or we like I don't know. It's crazy.
I'll say play calling. You don't know if it was him or I'll say if that was Frank Reich's doing. So it's going to be interesting to see for the Colts for next season with him losing a bunch of his coaching staff. Is he still going to have the same success? I would say, is he really the offensive mind or was it the coaching staff they had around him?
No, it's true. We're going to find out a lot. And because if Nick has success, Jeff, then you know that he was a big part of what was going on in Indy too. So listen, right. I want to like it. I want to love the move, and I want to believe that. Not even love the move. I just want to believe in hiring a young coaching staff is worth the risk. I mean, you have nothing to lose per se. So I mean, what do you have to lose at this point? There wasn't a bunch of names out there that we were clamoring for. So I mean, maybe you find lightning in the bottle again. I hope this guy's here for 10 years. You know, that's what I'm hoping for. But
I mean, if you look at this whole coaching carousel this offseason, it was very uneventful. It wasn't every coach that got hired was unknown. I mean, which is good because it seems like the good old boys is finally getting away from the retread network. You know what I mean? Like when you get somebody like a Ron Rivera that gets fired from Carolina who took a team to the Super Bowl, you snap somebody like that up if they still want to coach. Ultimately, I think Doug Peterson would have gotten a head coaching job if he wanted to pursue it because he is a Super Bowl winning head coach. To your point, Tom, talking about the guys being young, the coaching staff, the one thing I will say is that you can kind of tell if you play for if you have an offensive minded head coach, the defensive players, they're DC, they ride and they die for that. So Josh Gannon has these D-backs guys. Now he's been kind of more hands-on. All these young coaches, if anything, kind of had that firsthand experience working day-to-day and speaking of player development, where some coaches if we would have hired another coach that already was a head coach, they kind of had that more hands-off experience. They kind of had that bird's eye view. So really, everyone on this coaching staff that has been now going to experience, well, Steichen is just a lateral role, but for Gannon it's going to be an elevated role. For Sirianni it's going to be an elevated role, and obviously for Brian Johnson, because those are only the guys I can tell. I don't know. Obviously, Stoutland. If you talk about somebody that needs to be retired in the Ring of Honor at some point, Jeff Stoutland, I'll put his name up there. But I really don't know the coaches they've announced. I don't think they've announced a running backs coach, a DBs coach, linebackers coach, tight ends coach.
Well,
I know
special
they were looking at no special. So I know they were interviewing the guy Tracy Rocker from Clemson. Great name, by the way.
What's his name again?
Tracy Rocker. That's where he just got hired as a Clemson D-line coach, if I'm not mistaken. And I think I know they interviewed him. I think they were scheduled to interview if they haven't already interviewed him. So when you look at it like that, I just try to give fans that peace of mind and say, okay, well, we don't know a lot about these guys. But if you take a look at how general promotions work in every day-to-day 9-to-5 life, if you get an elevated role, you start off as a regular worker, then you get promoted, you may become shift lead, then assistant manager, then you become general manager. But that time within that, you never forget what it was like to be on the block. And for a lot of these guys that are going to be our coaches, that they should be motivated because they know this is the biggest stage that they're ever going to be on. And this isn't like if Frank Wright left and Nick Sirianni became the head coach of Indianapolis Colts. Nah, this is a big market. This is the fifth largest sports market in the country. So the lights are bright. Even when our team is bad, our fan base makes the lights bright. We're going to hold you accountable. I don't have any expectations coming into the season because, like I said, I don't know what they're going to do with the quarterback position. I don't know. Donovan, thank you for that. Who is the tight coach? And please don't tell me they have ties to Kyle Pitts, because if they draft Kyle Pitts at 6, I'm going fucking crazy.
Yeah, I shied away from that. I actually would take him.
Jason Michael.
Okay.
I would take him, Pete. Sorry.
You would take Kyle Pitts at 6?
From the Colts.
Depending on what's left, if Surtain's not there and a couple of my big guys, I mean, he falls right in line on the best thing for a quarterback.
That's
Dallas Goedert hasn't proven to me or anybody that, he one could play a full season and 2 be a Pro Bowl caliber tight end. You know, I mean, I don't agree with taking a wide receiver. Even though I love Smith and Chase, like I just don't agree with that because we've gone there so many times. But the more I've like talked myself into like Kyle Pitts being okay, I don't like hate it. But again, that's like no certain. That's I would probably take Sewell over Pitts.
Something drastic would have to happen for Chase, Smith, or Surtain not to be on the board at 6.
Probably,
and Parsons, like something would have to happen.
Or they trade.
What I mean? Like,
and take Pitts at 9.
Yeah.
You hope that one of the quarterbacks may be on the board, then and the Eagles truly don't fall in love with one of them, and then they trade back and build that arsenal. Because I mean, don't get me wrong, I know Surtain is Surtain, but between me and you, I feel more comfortable taking Surtain at 9 or 10 than instead of taking at 6. That's just me. But
fair. Eagles champ, what's I thought the chat? He's a piece of shit. It shouldn't even be a question. The guy shouldn't even come down to, and I was going to do a crumb of the day video on him today. I just didn't get around to him. And one, he's not really worth my time, but in reality, he is, because he's a piece of shit. And the fact that like reports come out that he's like standing over top of her after she comes back from being unconscious and saying, "Oh, you're still alive?" Like what? Like, and reports that he went and ate something like when she could have been dead. Like, wow. I don't know. I mean, listen, dude, like I'm not talking about, hey, 4-gamer, 8-gamer. Yeah. I'm talking about
no, he's gone.
Gone. Bye. No time for it. And it's not fair to the good guys that are in the National Football League. This is a disgrace. There's bad people in walks of life. It's just that's the way it goes. And it's time for the NFL to step up and make a statement, because they made a statement on Ray Rice, right? And that was the first one, and that rightful statement. This isn't on video, but as egregious. All right, as egregious. And no, my thoughts on Kareem Hunt. I just thought Kareem Hunt's an idiot. Okay, like just an idiot. Yeah. It's not even as egregious as Ray Rice. I mean, Ray Rice is flat out egregious. That's like Mike Tyson haymakers. That's not okay, right?
That was all you can from Street Fighter, bitch.
Yeah, like Kareem Hunt was a weird situation, like stupid. What the frig are you doing? You're a moron. Okay, but not the level of Ray. Okay, and Wheeler, from the reports and the pictures, is to the level of Greg Hardy, Ray Rice, all of them. Because you do anything to that level. First off, don't put your hands on a woman ever. Okay, so Kareem Hunt's wrong in his doings either. I'm not downplaying it. I'm just saying to the level, right? It's not to the level of what these guys did. I mean, these guys are a whole nother level. He doesn't deserve to ever play snap in the National Football League. And for the Seattle Seahawks to come out and say, I think they say we're saddened. Or
saddened by his actions or something like that?
Saddened by his actions. You're saddened by his actions. Like, you should be appalled. You should be, hey, you know what? We're appalled and we're pissed, and we're gonna find out. Right? And we're gonna find out. And when we get all the information, we're gonna make a decision, right? And at least take a stance one way or the other. It's clown stuff. Yeah. Clown. But it's terrible. And that's my thoughts, Eagles champ. So there you go.
This is like, you can't turn your bedroom into like what we're going to see Sunday night with the WWE and make it a fucking Royal Rumble, and then go eat a bowl of Fruity Pebbles and think it's okay. Like, you have to be wired differently to take it to that type of level, and it just makes you think, like, what was she going through before this point? You know what I mean? Because most things, and this just my experience with domestic violence, is you just don't wake up one day and just do that to your significant other. Like, you built up to that type of level of aggression to where you felt as if it's okay. You know what I mean? So, thoughts and prayers out to her. Real quick, rest in peace, Cicely Tyson. Greatness, 96 years old. Black actress, with Sidney Poitier back in those days. Richard Pryor back in those days. So, yeah, man, 2020 sucks so far. 2021 sucks so far. It's just a carryover right now. I mean, Hank Aaron, Don Sutton. It's just nobody gets into Baseball Hall of Fame. Mm-hmm. The Eagles don't have a true starting quarterback. So
stop. You come on. I feel like you're taking your handle at one point.
No, I'm just saying, I wanted to make a decision. You want to make a decision, so I want to know what direction.
I'm not making a decision. I would say they're going to training camp and these mini camps. I would say with that, it's going to be the first question tomorrow when Sirianni takes that presser, who your starting quarterback, or have you talked to Carson or this and that? And of course, he's going to give the company line and say, we're going, both of them are talented quarterbacks with good assets, and we're going to go into camp and see which one can beat the other. It's basically what's going to happen. We're not finding out. Carson's not getting traded as much as people want because now his trademark is basically out the freaking window when it comes to all these other quarterbacks now in the market with Deshaun Watson, Stafford. Plus, I would say any quarterback needy team, I would say that's top 10 in the draft. I would say there's 4 quality quarterbacks there that possibly can get taken. I would say at this point, they're keeping Carson unless he restructures his deal and he wants out here that bad. But I'll say the Eagles are going to want the right compensation. They're going into this camp with the ideal that it's quarterback competition, which I'll say I feel you need like announce a starter right away just so it's not a distraction constantly, especially in the locker room, because you saw when they bench Carson how much of a controversy and how a distraction in the locker room of these players it was. But I truly feel they're like I would say, like Tom said before, they're bringing these guys in to try to fix Carson. I'll say, like Lurie said in his press conference, he believes Carson is fixable. And I'll say, because we know what Carson can do. And I'll say the reports that I would say Chuck's that in our little group chat brought up about Tim McManus's article that he felt that I would say Doug was simplifying the offense. Now with Sirianni and this coaching staff, we'll see if he has full reins again of the offense and see how well he does if he's the starter.
Yeah, it's big. I mean, but I agree. I mean, they should announce it. I mean, Jeffrey Lurie should be like, that's my starter. Like, I mean, his numbers come down and tell Nick, like, hey, that's going to be our guy because we're not taking a $50 million dead cap hit no matter what you're giving us. And I think it's important for that to be said. It's time for the organization to show their belief in it, right? I mean, it truly is. You signed the check. You signed the $128 million check. Now it's your time to show everybody else that you still signed off on that. You still endorse it. All right? Because right now it looks like to the fan base, we don't know what they're thinking, right? We assume it's Carson. It's Carson's job to lose. But they're like, I think it takes people coming out and saying that before it dies out. Or is it going to be speculation city until next September?
Yeah. I mean, like you said, Nick and Jeff just have to sit him down and how to like, listen, you are the over $100 million guy. It's your job to lose. So you should be able to hand it, put your big boy pants on, and go earn your title that you already have. You know what I mean? And anybody, I saw a comment, and it's not up here, but it said people don't want to play with Carson. His team is, listen, Carson, you can't blame it on his teammates or make him feel bad. He was the one out there getting hit. He got sacked the most in the league, and he didn't play the last 4 weeks of the season. Whether it could be him or not, you can't question his toughness. He's too damn tough to a damn fault. You know what I mean? For the first 3 years of his career. So, I mean, I would never question Carson's toughness. His passive aggressiveness, maybe, you know what I mean? And not being direct and what he really wants, you know, in that type A personality. But that's just not his stilo. So, I don't know. I think Roseman's on notice this year, and also I think Wentz is on notice. So we'll see. We'll see how it comes.
Roseman's not going anywhere. When they said that this is a rebuilding process, he's here for the long haul unless he does something illegal. That's the only way he's losing his job.
Can I be a wishful thinker? That's all.
You can be a wishful thinker. It doesn't mean it's gonna freaking happen.
Hey, you can wishful think all you want. I mean, the guy went to bat for him, Pete. I mean, in his little, and Brian Otarzi asking what I think about Jerry Fictional and Jeffrey Lurie. I mean, the guy went to bat for him. He couldn't make up enough excuses for not taking Justin Jefferson. I mean, literally, he could not come up with enough excuses on that draft. Well, you know, the guy went 3 picks. You know what I mean? He was like circling to make
his excuses. Or if you're talking about the press conference, I apologize, guys. I had to hop out and take care of some shop for A2D. But if you're talking about the presser, his way of defending it was not even addressing the fact of anybody that went after their picks. It was guys who went before 3 picks ahead. That's the way it was deflect. Mm-hmm.
Or credit stuff for Howie that he didn't even have a part of, like the winning seasons in the early 2000s when Howie was a freaking intern getting Joe Banner's coffee.
Yeah, right, Jeff. Jeff, you can't make it up, right? Like
Nope.
you literally can't make it up that they're gonna crown him on that. You know what I mean? And be like, oh well, dude, it's Andy Reid. Like that's why Andy Reid had full control after a while, because that was his show. Like, it's just a joke. You can't make it up. He had no parts of anything success. Okay, he was part of the 2 10-win teams that Chip Kelly was a part of, and then part of their failure. And then he was part of rebuilding a team for 2016 to become a Super Bowl team in 2017, and he gets all the glory for that, like he should. And then after that, we've watched the roster go south, and this guy defend. It's amazing.
I think he'll be on the shit this year though. It's usually when Howie's down to his last straw, like somehow, some way, he pulls a rabbit out his ass and he does everything. Like all his moves to just play out. And I wouldn't be surprised if he was in the playoffs and coming this time. No, maybe not coming this time, but to be in the playoffs for next year. It would not surprise me one bit. It would not surprise me one bit.
Not for this year, I would say, because Lurie already said they're in cap hell. I would say they're basically chalking up this offseason when it comes to the cap as a loss. So maybe next year, I would say Howie's on the possible chopping block, but this year he's getting a free pass. The rebuild comment, the cap, I would say, doesn't matter this season. I would say Howie's job is safe for at least one more year.
Yeah, that was setting the bar low without outright saying it, letting the fans know that, hey, if you think that this is going to be a change next year, we're letting you know now. That's not the direction that we're going to go in for at least the next year or so. So there's a very, very clear message sent.
Yeah, that's the best way of saying it. The bar was set extremely low. That not only did we say 2, but we added on 2 to 5. We'll just give you the little. We'll just throw it out there. Hopefully nobody heard it. No, we heard it. 2 to 5. You threw 5 out. Are you kidding me? It's a National Football League. It takes you 5 years to get back. You went from 2016 to 2017 and able to win a Super Bowl from a 5-win team, 6-win team, whatever they were, 7-win team in 2016 to a Super Bowl team. Why? Because you went out and addressed the roster, and you went out and you made the right moves, and right. So that doesn't take that long. You want to tell me 2 years? Fine. I mean, I'm right there with Jeff. Like, hey, you need 2 to compete again? Fine. But not being able to compete for 5, that's a joke. And we're not going to tolerate that here in this city. And
be rioting.
Yeah, we could win. Listen, we could be right where Pete says. We could be a 10-11 win team next year simply off of 11. Like, simply off him being right. We could be a 10-win team. And if we draft Kyle Pitts at 6. Just kidding, guys. I know I'm going to get everybody up in their feels again in the comment section.
Sirianni does like 2 tight end sets, man. It makes sense. If you believe what they came out with today and said there's no way that Ertz is back. I mean,
that's like Captain Obvious to me, like that report today. Like, that's why I hate that report. Like, thanks. You know what I mean? Appreciate you. Like, we've witnessed this since August. Like, I didn't need somebody coming out telling me that Zach Ertz isn't going to be back. The guy cried in presser. He cried his exit interview. It was a goodbye tour. And you guys going to tell me, oh, by the way, for a couple clicks today, guess who's not coming back to Philly? Thank you.
Right.
Let me know when he's back, if he comes back. That's the information we need as a fan base. Like, by the way, Zach Ertz is coming back. Oh, cool. You know what I mean? Cool.
The only time he's coming back is when he signs his 1-day contract when he retires in a couple of years.
Hopefully a couple of times. He might play 7 more after he leaves here. And then all of a sudden his yards after contact are like lead the league.
So what do we have here, boys? Who agreed? Who disagreed?
Me and Pete agreed. Tom thought you were going to agree, so he didn't want to sweep the board, so he gave us a reason for the disagree.
And he's right.
Yes.
I definitely agree with the poll question. For a lot of the reasons that I heard from Pete starting out with, I like the idea. It's a different direction. And I hear you talk about this all the time, Tom. I think that there's some substance to it that seems like these young guys, and maybe not even the sexiest names, who end up getting these head coaching jobs end up being some of the best candidates that end up springing up out of nowhere. So, I like the idea that they've gone in a different direction, that they've brought in an entirely new coaching staff. Having a young coaching staff, to me, shows somewhat of a commitment to this coaching staff going forward, that they are, it's not going to be a transitional coaching staff. So, to me, that's encouraging. I want them, and I don't want it to be a one or 2 year expectation either. You know, if you're going to make this move and you're going to remove Doug, you have to be confident in the move that you're making, and you got to give it some time to play out. So yeah, I mean, I'm all on board with it. And you know, in terms of the qualifications of these guys, you know, the direction that I would like to see the team take with the focus on the quarterback position and the wide receiver position, I'm all for it. So yeah, I'm in on it. They've made me a believer at this point. And one of the things that we talked about last night, Tom, on the Fix and AM and the PM was the idea of, you know, your confidence in the organization to make the right decisions. And I want to get Pete and Jeff's opinions on this. For me, my lack of confidence in the organization has never been on these coaching hires and personnel hires. I feel like they've done a good job. And I talked about it. You know, I made the case last night that even though in the end it didn't work out and the decision to hand the keys over to Chip was ultimately the wrong decision. When you look at, you know, 2 10-win years, look at the guys, the building blocks that he was able to draft to put in place for that next regime to build that Super Bowl team around, I still look at the Chip Kelly era as a success. Now, had you floundered after, I think we could look at that differently. But it's still, you know, it's almost like when I look at the Phillies when they won the World Series, right? I always felt like Ed Wade, right? Ed Wade was a great young talent evaluator. He's a great scout of young guys. He just was never the guy to get him over the hump. I didn't think he was a guy who could have made the acquisitions that were necessary. And even looking at the Flyers now with Ron Hextall, as opposed to Chuck Fletcher, guys who can have an eye for talent for young guys in scouting, but aren't capable of making that next move to get him over the hump. I don't think Chip at the pro level was going to be able to do that. But was he able to bring NFL-ready talent to the league through the draft and develop them a little bit? Absolutely. And that's something Doug never did. Doug didn't develop the talent, not to the level we should hold him, or the standard we should hold him at. And so I look at the Chip Kelly era as a success in the small frame that it was. And at least they knew to cut bait when it was time to cut bait. So in terms of the coaching hires, I do have confidence. The draft, we know that. I don't need to rehash that. And my concern with Howie at this point, with the mess that they're in, is you know, it's stating the obvious as well. But I'd never had a concern with this. But do you guys have confidence in the organization that, in terms of putting a coaching staff together, they had a plan to execute and were able to do so effectively?
Go ahead, Pete.
Pete's
No,
like thinking.
I mean,
I could see it on his face.
I know.
I know.
I'm trying to say this because it's twofold. It's twofold. So you're right. I mean, I try to tell people that was all bent out of shape last Thursday when Sirianni got hired at 2:00 in the afternoon. Like, listen, 3 out of the 4, or 4 out of the 5 hires that Lorian has made, you didn't know them, and they had success. The one that everybody was souped up about that caught national attention was Chip, and for 2 years that was a success. And you know what I mean. And the second year, really, they kind of tailed off completely at the end. They could have been 13-3, 14-2. We were shit after Thanksgiving with Mark Sanchez. We were talking about getting the first round bye. You know what I mean? I never forget that. So, but even with Chip, they had mild success. So it's twofold for me because I think the initial search they're very good at, and Laurie I do think is a good judge of character and a leader when it comes to the coaches, and he's decisive. He knows what he wants. Like even with Nick Sirianni, he knew what he was looking for, and he was waiting for somebody to wow him in the interview process. And when Nick did that, that's where he was at. And I think that's why Sirianni's the next head coach. But I say that to say this. What their problem is, well, mainly Roseman's problem, is you do this and you know you're good at hiring a coaching staff, let them fucking coach. Let them do their job. You know what I mean? Like, let them do their shit. Don't meddle. You know what I mean?
Don't be Jerry Jones. Don't be Al Davis.
At all. Like, don't be the dude at the end of the Scooby-Doo episode. If it wasn't for you and these meddling kids, you know what I mean? Like, fuck that. No, this lay hands off and let them coach.
And I feel like that's something that Jeffrey Lurie, for most of his tenure, was pretty good at until Andy left. I think he had so much confidence in Andy that he knew that he could lay back until the time was right. But for whatever reason after that, when it came to Chip, when it came to Doug, short leashes. We'll give you that extra responsibility. But if you don't show, with Andy, there were times where they had seasons where, they never really had bad seasons under Andy, a couple, but, he never seemed concerned that they would bounce back until the very, very end. But he doesn't have that patience with any of these guys. And I agree with you, Pete, now, because it's becoming a trend now where, he's 2 straight head coaches where he's got his fingertips in on everything. And that's what I worry about. Because I don't like the Jerry Jones. Ralph Davis did that. Steinbrenner, he threw his money out there, but he meddled in a lot too. I've never been a fan of that. Knowing when to step back and let your guys that you put in a position do the job that you hired them for is so pivotal for an owner. And I'm concerned that as he gets older, he's going to start being that guy. And I don't want our team, our organization to have that perception of you have the owner who can't keep his fucking fingertips off of everything.
Right. Being that guy. You worried about him starting to be that guy? Because to me, he already is that guy.
Well, yeah, I agree. I'm not saying, I'm worried that it's going to be like a thing that he can't help himself, though.
Yeah. It happens.
And that's what I'm worried about is it's going to become, as the years pass and it's more and more often, it's going to be the point where he just can't help himself. He has to have, even when it's not necessary. Mm-hmm. And he's getting there. He's that guy pretty much now. But I still feel like there's hope that if he gets confidence in a head coach, he can maybe reel it in a little bit.
Well, is it more Lurie, or is it more you think Howie in Lurie's ear tell him, hey, this guy ain't the right guy for the job, or he has a problem? I would say, look with Doug at the end. There was reports of always that disconnect between Doug Peterson and Howie Roseman. It basically ate away at both of them. They both had their huge egos throughout the entire season, and then look what happened. I would say you have the end of the season presser with Doug, and a week later he's fired. And I would say it's a little bit of a double standard. You're a Super Bowl winning head coach who you won't allow him to pick his staff, and because of that he gets fired, released, quits, whatever. But then you bring in this young guy and he brings in a bunch of his unknowns or a bunch of coaching staff from Indy that he worked with. What the hell's the difference? I understand under Doug, the guys that he was planning on bringing back, it didn't work. So I get that aspect of it. Obviously, you want a fresh start. You need some new coaches if you want to stick around here. But I don't know. I feel Howie's more of in Lurie's ear, as I would say. It's basically like owner A, owner B, essentially with Howie, and he's running the ship. And until his ego is out of there, I don't know how it's going to work. I feel we're going to continue to have these cycles of going through head coaches, because how long is it going to take for Sirianni to freaking tell off Howie, to tell him, say, look, this is how I want my team. Let me coach my team. You don't have a say with my day personnel. Lay the fuck off. So
I think that's a very good point, Jeff, because I truly believe. I think what you've seen now is we kind of echoed it before. We always said with the Super Bowl how much it was Frank Reich, how much it was Peterson. What if that same sentiment was out there behind the scenes within the league? You feel what I'm saying? Like, what if those in the know in the NFL themselves feel that way, that maybe Peterson wasn't all what he was cracked up to be?
Mm-hmm.
If it's one thing about Howie, when he's from the house Slytherin, he's a Slytherin snake, bitch, and he has his ear to the street when it comes to the NFL. Like, he knows a lot of people, and I feel like with Chip, it's kind of the same. But I feel like if Sirianni is truly more of Andy Reid-esque qualities, I think that Lurie will more go to that route than let Howie try to meddle. I think Howie meddled because I felt as if he knew he could, because he knew if he got in the room when it was just him, Doug, and Chip, and Jeff, that he can outmaneuver his opponent and have himself come out being better. You know what I mean? Howie knew he couldn't do that shit with Andy. You feel what I'm saying? He knew that wasn't working. So the one thing I'll say about these guys that are young, they look old as shit. They look weathered. Like, They look like they about add 10 years, which is good for them though. Because that's what the NFL will do to you. You know what I mean? So that means that you've been through the grind, you've been through the act, so you've seen different organizations. And these guys that are coming in and it's going to be this coaching staff, it's not like I said, it's completely different from Doug. And this organization, they do things they overcorrect. And when they overcorrect, they go overcorrect to the max. To where obviously they didn't want Doug to promote Taylor. So now the next head coach, listen, they're saying that our coach can't pick his own staff. Guess what? Everywhere that Sirianni has been, he got somebody on his staff from every stop. You know what I mean? It's nothing but Chargers and Colts. That's so far up until this point in the main position. So it's like, hey, how do you go about changing the narrative that we meddle too much and our coach is picking their staff? Let him pick whoever he wants. And it's like he's picking his best friends. And now they get criticized for that. So they're probably like, damned if we do, damned if we don't. I don't give a shit. As we start winning or we show promise, none of this shit means anything.
See,
Winning solves everything.
See, I think this whole thing contradicts that whole not letting them pick their own staff. I don't think they wanted Doug to pick his staff being the same guys who didn't earn promotion.
That's true to that.
I think that's what the issue was, because the fact that with all these guys that came in were none of the names on anybody's list. So to me, that is telling this head coach that we're going to give you the vote of confidence to pick the guys that you believe are going to put your program in place and succeed the most. I think it's a total contradiction. Now, if you did see a Jim Caldwell or those kind of guys, that to me would tell me that they are dictating who the coaching staff is going to be. So I'm actually encouraged more so.
Right.
To me, that does give a little bit of validity to reports. And again, they're just reports, but that gives a little bit of validity to, it's not that we weren't going to let Doug pick a staff, but we weren't having Press Taylor as offensive coordinator. We weren't having Deuce Staley get promoted. Any of these guys who didn't do their job last year. Because on a 4-11-1 team, nobody deserves a promotion.
Nope.
And I believe it. I believe Doug said, this is who I want. Take it or leave it. They said, well, that's who you're not going to have. And probably both of them said, well, let's just part ways now while it's the right time to do it.
Guys, did Joe Giglio really say this today?
Say what? That dude, man. That dude is something else.
Trade. Oh my goodness, this guy loves himself or something. I mean, how do you literally write this out? Like, how would you write this out and feel okay with it and send? Right? You can hit send. The Eagles should trade Carson Wentz for Jared Goff, and really hit send on that, and really not do your homework on a lot of the reasons Jared Goff has had success in this league, and a lot of reasons success being off play action. So, I mean, my buddy Salvatore, he's in here now. Salvatore just sent it to me. Say he should be coming.
That's clickbait. That's all that is. He's
Mr. Clickbait, click phony, whatever you want to call it.
That's a hot take. That's a hot take clickbait drop. That's all that is.
For Jared Goff.
That's we've heard all the same names. We've heard Sean Watson and everybody else. Let's throw another one in. That one will get people talking. Let's throw out Jared Goff. Really?
I'll trade him for Matt Stafford, though. I would trade him for Stafford in a heartbeat.
They didn't even make commitment, Pete.
You trade Carson for Matt Stafford?
Yep.
With the way this team is now. No, let me ask you this now, Pete. You're going to throw it out there. The way that this team is constructed right now, knowing that it's probably going to take them a year, maybe 2 years to get this team back into contention. Like, not just in the division, like legitimately in contention.
Mm-hmm.
You would trade Carson Wentz for Matt Stafford, knowing Stafford's getting a little bit older.
He's 32.
You're going to waste that year or 2 years and trade Carson Wentz for him. I think that's absolutely absurd.
No.
Because the $43 million.
What do we have here that's going to make Matt Stafford better? He just left the place.
I'm just saying this
left the place where he didn't have anything around.
Him off the books. His deal is more team friendly than what Carson Wentz is. You're talking about a quarterback that's 2 years. I mean, that's just me. I've been a Stafford. I've always liked Stafford.
So does the dead cap hit? Does that change if you trade that? If you make that trade?
No, he would have to restructure.
You're still on the books for the guaranteed money. I would say the only way Wentz is even getting traded here with that deal if he restructures. So he really has to want out of here and agree to work with a deal. to restructure that for him to get out of here. Otherwise, he's playing here in 2021.
And that's not going to happen. He's not leaving guaranteed money on the table. The union will never allow him to leave that guaranteed money on the table. We say it all the time. I say it again. This isn't Madden. Okay, we can't override trade offers. Just the way it is. We can't ignore the cap. We can't turn the salary cap off in the settings section. Okay.
Julio said Wentz for golf. I'm saying I'd rather do, if anything, if we're playing hypotheticals, I'd rather have Wentz for Stafford than before I have Wentz for golf. Can we agree to that at least?
I'd rather have Carson Wentz over any of them.
Oh, yeah, we're playing hypotheticals, sir.
I'm not
don't like to play along
shit right now, Pete, because neither of them are ever going to happen, and I'm not going down that road.
They're just going to draft another QB6.
He's not writing a check out, so the give money back.
No.
Speaking of money, Tom, we got to pay our bills here at A2D Radio, brother. So let's take a moment and let's take care of those who take care of us. All right. Specialized physical therapy, our doctor, Dr. Paul Vidal. Get your needs, get your body taken care of. He's got a physical location in Burlington and Cherry Hill. And you can also schedule on the web with no appointment necessary at specializedphysicaltherapy.com. Doc Vidal, who joins you guys quite often on the Sunday show, the flagship Agree to Disagree. Doc's the best. Make sure you guys reach out to him. If you have any kind of needs or anything, get yourself taken care of.
Yeah, we had a great talk about turf toe, and I bet the Bills Sunday. But no, it wasn't because of the doc. I mean, I had the Bills going to Super Bowl anyway. But we thought Mahomes' turf toe was going to be an issue. I mean, at least I did. I think I was selling. Oh, and you could step into throws. Yeah, that aged well.
Yeah.
You talk about a deer in headlights. The whole Bills sideline was a deer in headlights. They had the Sean McVay Super Bowl look. They didn't know what was going on.
I was so disappointed in that game. I mean, even if the Bills lost, I expected a better performance.
Better effort.
And they just look, like you said, guys, inexperienced and deer in headlights. They look completely overmatched.
Yep.
With a quarterback that you worried if he was even going to be healthy going into the game, and not even just the concussion issues. You know, the wheels might have been a compromise there.
They played so bad that I think that even if Mahomes didn't play, I think they still win that game. I think if Chad Henne started that game solely based on how bad Buffalo played in that game.
Well, yeah, especially defensively. I would say they had no answer for Travis Kelce. Almost every single play, I would say Travis Kelce was wide open in the middle of the field for a big first down or for the touchdown. There was no stop. There was just too much firepower.
If you look up throughout the year, the team that gave it the most passes to a tight end, it was Buffalo. You knew Travis Kelce coming to the game. You knew that was a weakness, and that may have cost Leslie Frazier the Houston job. Because look who got the Houston job over him. Listen,
our former wide receiver coach, baby.
You know what I mean? Like, come on, bro. Like, you can't. That's like Andy going to the NFC Championship game against the Panthers, knowing the press man and look at your wide receivers, and you still try to. No, you just don't do that. You got the egg on your face at that point. You know what I mean?
Absolutely. Absolutely.
I don't know how you don't. I don't know. I mean, I guess pick your poison. You know, who you doubling.
Yeah.
But
I'll say between Kelce, I'll say Tyreek Hill, who's a big playmaker. I'll say Clyde Edwards-Helaire was returned. So I'll say the Chiefs are just the class of the AFC, and it's probably going to be like that probably for the next couple of years.
Agreed.
Yep.
But
however, I think they lose on a week from Sunday. I'll take that.
You're going out on a limb right now and saying the Tampa Bay Bucks and Tom Brady are winning the Super Bowl? How ironic is that? I would say for if the Buffalo Bills made that Super Bowl, I would say for you to make your first Super Bowl in over 20-something years and you have to go up against the guy that destroyed you for over a decade with Tom Brady, that would, I would say the media would ate that up.
That's why I thought they were both getting there. That's why I had the Bills too, because I'm like, this is just a dream scenario for the NFL, and this is like how we broke our curse in a way.
Yeah.
We go, and it'd be so fitting for Buffalo to end such a long streak by doing it this way, right?
Yeah, you know though.
Perfect ending to like what their season was. You know what I mean? Like Brady leaves, like we don't have to see him anymore. Oh yeah, we do. We got to see him. We got to see him in the Super Bowl, and then be able to beat him. I mean, that would have been perfect. I agree with Jeff on that one. That would have been perfect. But this one's good.
Yeah,
good too.
but you still have that sub storyline though of, the Eagles lost in 04, right? It's Andy's last time, Andy's first trip to the Super Bowl. He lost to Tom Brady and the Patriots. Rumor, the cheating stuff and all that shit's out there. This is a chance for Andy.
No,
I don't want to hear that shit. Get over it.
Nope. Stop it.
Oh, I'm gonna be hurt if
how many times we gonna root for him, bro? I mean, come on.
I'm gonna root for the rest of his career, brother.
Nah, that's not how that works.
Absolutely how it works. Absolutely how it works.
No, it doesn't, Andy.
Yeah, it is. Oh my God, Marone, you're so soft on Andy.
Let me confirm this. I used to call Dad here, and I wanted him to win that Super Bowl last year, so he could finally get his one. Now I don't. I want Brady to shove it up every hater's ass. No. That's what I want on next Sunday.
Stop it.
That's what I want.
Stop.
You can root for Daddy to win another. This guy, he got his one. Okay? All right, fuck him now. With all due respect.
Listen, I will say this, Chrome. I'm not rooting against Andy, but I can't believe I fucking say this. I'd rather root for Brady to win 7 than for Mahomes to get 2.
No, see that? No.
What's against Mahomes?
I have nothing against Mahomes. I just
he does. He does.
43 years
old.
Mahomes is a superstar. Mahomes was Mahomes.
Yeah, Mahomes is a superstar. I would say you have that. I would say we're talking about storylines for the Super Bowl, which I'm sure we'll dive into next week. But I would say the passing of the torch, the young gun with Patrick Mahomes going up against the GOAT of all time. If he can overcome the greatest in the biggest moment of the season. Dude, I'll say honestly, I'll say this season I predicted I would say probably Mahomes when his career's said and done. He's probably the way he's performing and playing, the way this Chiefs team is performing. If Andy can stick it out as long as he can, dude, we might be talking about him being one of the great. I would say the greatest of all time, depending on how many Super Bowls he wins.
It's time to take old Yeller, take him back behind the shed.
See, this is exactly why they're not going to lose because this is out there. This is out
there.
Put
him to pass.
You keep feeling that way. Feed that. Listen, Tampa Bay.
You know what's funny?
It's clicking on all funny of all this. They can sleep in their own fucking bed.
You know what's hilarious?
You know what's hilarious, bro? They can score 50 with them.
This is what's funny about all this, right?
That's hilarious.
Here we go from Captain Assumptions down here. Okay, of all this whole thing, guys, you guys don't even realize that I'm actually rooting for Brady to win this Super Bowl.
I can't tell.
Yeah, couldn't tell that one.
Because I'm not going to listen to the, I don't want to hear Andy Reid. I'm happy if Andy Reid wins the Super Bowl crap. Get over it. He didn't get it done here. He's a better coach for it, and now he's going to go and get number 2. I want Brady to win, but Kansas City's going to win. And I want Brady to win for the pure fact, and I can't believe I'm saying it, because as a guy who grew up a Dolphins fan, I've hated the Patriots long before Tom Brady was ever there.
Probably should have.
The fact that I'm going to root for him in a Super Bowl because I love history being made. And for him to win a Super Bowl in each conference at this stage of his career is something that you will probably never, ever see again. And for that reason alone, I would love to see it. But if he loses, am I going to be like, I can't believe Andy got another fucking ball. We ain't rooting for Big Red no more, Dad. No.
Win or lose, I would say Brady already proved that I would say he was the genius in New England. I would say he already proved that he can go to a deep playoff run without Bill Belichick and go to the Super Bowl while Belichick's laying flat on his face missing the playoffs.
Everybody said system quarterback, and he's good, but it's also partially the system. Well, I think he definitely bucked that this year. I mean, he's got a ton of talent around him. We can't deny that. But you still got to go out and perform. You still got to get that football to the guy. And he's 42 years old.
But the thing is, I would say
42 years old. It's impressive.
if I would say he didn't play that well in that, and I would say in that NFC Championship game. Yeah. If the Packers defense doesn't blow that freaking coverage right before halftime to Scotty Miller for the touchdown, we might not be talking about him going to the Super Bowl. Remember, he had 3 interceptions, like 2 in that second half that the Green Bay Packers couldn't capitalize on, and then we had Matt LaFleur being a freaking moron, kicking a field goal with 2 minutes left when you're down by 1 score with the MVP of the league under center with Aaron Rodgers.
Absolutely.
I would say for Brady, I would say I'm nothing to take away from Brady and the Bucks. I would say their defense played well. I would say they ended up winning the football game, but I feel we're giving Brady a little bit too much credit for this victory when it was more I think the Packers losing that game than the Buccaneers winning it.
Well, I don't think you could say you gave him too much because that first half he had was unbelievable. He won a football game in a half.
Yeah, I mean, he took the life.
2 quarters.
He ripped the life right out from him, and that's him. That's just him, and that's why I do give him credit. Even like if they're winning and he's not even playing to the level that we've seen in the past, I just give him so much credit because when he walks into a locker room now, it's like guys just believe, and you guys know enough. If you get enough guys believing, good things start to happen. And you're right, like to Jeff's point, like in that second half, he did everything to give that game away, right, by turning the football over. But that culture has already been built that they believe they're going to win. They just believe they're going to win. They believe they're going to make a play, and that starts with him. And it truly does. It starts with everywhere he's been. And now we know who the system was. The system was the guy who was the winner, right? And that guys believed in that was going to make plays. And now remember how many young kids are on this football team that have watched Tom Brady win Super Bowls in their lifetime and are now playing on the other side of the football from him. Devin White. I mean, they're probably half the freaking defense, right? Or JPP, who's played against him in Super Bowls, right? So you look at that, it's like, man, these guys walk in here and they all believe, and that's the difference maker, and that's why they were able to do this that fast and take a team that had a lot of talent on it, right? Like last year, ton of talent, and take that team and put it in a Super Bowl. That's huge. That's huge because listen, we saw what bad quarterback play did for him last year. He's a big part of why they stopped. But also, that guy never isn't a winner, and then it just shows you how much like putting a winner under center matters, and then to be able to have the guts too, when you're in field goal range, to go for the throw. Like you go, they don't get that there, or that ball's overthrown, or not on a dime, or King can knock it down, whatever. Then that changed the whole thing. And to be able to put that on a dime, to cut their throat going into half. I mean, that's just him. That's just him. It's amazing. It's amazing at 43 years old that this dude can go in 20. Like I'm cold right now. And I got a heater on, and and I'm cold. 38, little chill. Get a little throw blanket on me. I must say throw rug. Put a throw blanket on me and feel better. But Chrome, secondly, kiss my ass because I never said. I'm not forgetting about that. I never once said that. Oh, I don't like Andy. I don't want it. I'd be mad if Andy won. No, I said Andy got his last year. I don't need the. Yeah. Last year was my rooting interest for Andy Reid. This year becomes my rooting interest for the greatest quarterback to ever lace him up. And I watch Montana too. Stop it. Stop it. If we want to talk about systems, people, if we want to get systematic with me, okay? The freaking greatest offensive coordinator and offensive game caller that reinvented the offense in the National Football League in Bill Walsh, and the greatest receiver to ever lace him. So Montana, as he is a stud and the second best of all time, until Mahomes takes that from him, Brady is one. And the only way Mahomes takes it is by going and getting more. That's just the way it is. That's how we call it for Jordan and LeBron. I'm going to call it the same way for Mahomes. Now, I think in the NFL, last thing I got, in the NFL, just getting there like a bunch of times, even if you don't win, is way harder than it is in basketball, in my opinion.
Yeah.
So if Mahomes goes to like 12 of them and wins 5, then I think then you maybe, if he goes to more Super Bowls and his numbers are better and he at least wins a handful. I mean, if he wins 5 total, I think that conversation, that's a real fun one to have 12 years from now.
Yeah, I think that, a lot of that would be predicated on that too. And I don't I don't know that can happen because I think one of the keys would be Andy sticking around for that long. I don't
He's
know
like 64 or some shit like that now.
I don't know that Andy has that kind of longevity in him. But you never know.
He dies. I'll say I don't think they would give Patrick Mahomes that 10-year contract unless Andy was going to plan on being here for quite some time.
Or Eric as soon as he's done. If he decides to hang it up in 5 years, I think he wants to go for like a lot of things now. Like if you start getting this deep in your coaching career, like now you start to say, you know what? Like what do I got to do to catch so and so? What do I got to catch Don? I mean, is Shula the most winningest coach of all time? So I don't.
Yeah, Shula.
Yeah, I would say Belichick's going to pass him. I would say. I looked it up the other day. I would say Reek probably get in the top 5 if he wins at least 10 games the next 3 or 4 seasons.
So if he went on till he's 70, right? Which isn't crazy to think. If we went on till he's 70 with Mahomes and he's winning 12 games a year, ooh, good for him. Yeah, you know what I mean?
But like, if you're Andy too, at this point, 20 some odd years in, what haven't you seen? Like you survived trends and defenses. You survived the cover 2 with the Legion of Boom. Like you've seen that. You've seen it all. And now you're doing shit like you did with Chad Henne in the division round to go for it on 4th and inches. I mean, when you got Tyreek Hill at your disposal like that and you put him in motion, like Andy's doing shit now that he never would have reached this step if he didn't go through what he did with the Eagles. Ever. With that being said,
I think a lot of things beat if he doesn't go through what he went through with his sons, right? If he doesn't go through the loss in his life, I think probably is still here, honestly. Like I think a part of the reason for a part of the reason for the change was a change of scenery. You know what I mean? Not just from probably, you know what I mean? Like it's more psychological than just, Billy.
I don't think a head coach can stay in place for 15 years without having produced a championship by then. I think, what was it, 14 or 13 seasons he was here? Essentially the same thing. I don't think you can go that long without having produced, despite all the success that he had, and it's not something that you look at negatively upon because, again, he changed the culture and the view of this organization as a whole, but it was time. It was time to part ways. And I am looking at it, Jeff. So Belichick's
going to pass it eventually.
I don't know if he will, man. He's 48 wins behind. And I mean, it's going to depend on how quickly the Patriots can turn it around. A lot of people believe that Bill's starting to get worn out. He might be done by the time that, he's 48 wins is a lot of wins.
Yeah.
It's a lot of wins, especially if you're putting up 5 and 6 win seasons. Yeah, with no quarterback inside. Andy, on the other hand,
when he gets Deshaun Watson this offseason, then we'll be talking a different story.
If Andy hypothetically does stick around for, say, 8 or 9 more years, and they average about 12 wins a season, which is very, very hard to do.
Yeah.
Andy's got an outside shot to catch Don Shula.
I see him getting top 5. He's going to pass Tom Landry. He's only about 30 wins behind him, so 10-win seasons.
29 behind Tom Landry. He's only 5. He's going to be top 5 next year because he's only 5 away from Curly Lambeau.
Yep.
Right.
Unless Patrick Mahomes breaks his leg and he's out for the year.
I mean, I even think for Belichick, who's at 280, Shula's at 328. To catch George Halas, who's at 318, it's still going to. I mean, the Patriots are going to have to turn it around and sustain success again. I don't know that Bill's going to have that in him, especially if they're not good for the next 2 years. I think that might be it for Bill. So I mean, we'll see what they do. Maybe wouldn't shock me though if they go out and get Matt Stafford this offseason, and that could turn it around for them a little bit.
Because Belichick's 68 right now, so he's up there in age as well. Yeah. But I think he's another lifer. He's gonna coach till the day he dies. Yeah, that's his one goal right now is to become the all-time winningest head coach of all time. Whether that takes him 5 years, 10 years, whatever, until the day he dies. That's his goal right now. He's won enough Super Bowls. So I
don't believe it. I don't believe it.
Oh, I believe it.
You don't believe that? You don't believe that he'll get it?
Egos run deep.
I'm saying that's what he's going to try. That's the whole reason why he's sticking around as long as he is.
I mean, I think he's sticking around. I think his ego right now is more driven of I can win without Tom. I think it's less about the wins and more
How's that
of
working out for him?
I mean, 1 year in, it ain't looking good. But
and in his defense, he did lose his whole defense that opted out of COVID.
I
So,
mean, half the starters opted out because of COVID. So we don't know what they're going to look like next year.
he could have been pretty good this year under the circumstances if their defense was all there.
Well, I mean, they still had Miami to contend with in Buffalo, so I don't know.
No, I mean, like better than what were they? 4-win team this year, 5-win team. Like they probably could have went 8-8,
5 or 6 maybe.
Probably would have been an 8-8 team if their whole defense 9-7 if their whole defense was
Possibly.
And then went down.
Cam Newton stinks. There's no coaching him up. Like he stinks.
Well, I mean, at the point in his career, he is who he is. That's the bottom line. You know, he's not a guy that there's still a ceiling to hit. He hit that a long time ago.
Yeah.
You know, now it's so even. I don't even think he knows if he can be a starting quarterback in this league anymore.
Who, Cam?
Yeah.
Yeah, and his body may be too beat up to actually transfer to another position. You know what I mean?
I mean,
he can't stop playing. He got too many fucking kids. I'll tell you that. He got like 9 kids or something.
Who?
9 kids.
And
Cam.
He's got all kinds of kids.
He got mad kids, bro.
He's got very expensive fashion taste.
And we know that.
He's got a lot to support right now. A lot on his plate.
Yeah.
Dude, like it's the Jameis Winston effect, bro. If you're willing to stick around, teams will bring you in to be the backup, right? Like, and there's bad teams you can go to if you want to start, but if you want to stick around and you know whatever, you can be a backup. I mean, a guy like Cam Newton can back up till he's 40. You know what I mean? Just because the league's backup stink. You know what I'm saying? He'll always have a strong arm. He'll always be big. Like, you know what I mean? So if you want to make money, the money's there to be made. Like, you want to sit around making $2 million a year on a clipboard, you can make it in this league. So, I mean, he'll be all right. He'll survive. Cammy. He'll be okay.
So let me ask you guys this. Do we want to do the NFL honors thing, or do we want to have a little more fun and predict where some of these quarterbacks are going to land and why you think it's an ideal situation for them? I think I'd rather do that.
I vote
NFL honors. That sounds like a fun Chuck's topic. We'll put that to the side. We'll maybe do that next week. I could care less about NFL honors, to be honest with you.
Yeah, I love Chuck. I care less about honors. Yeah,
I really there's so much chatter with these quarterbacks, and I'm even going to throw Aaron Rodgers in for the simple fact of all the nonsense from this week. But why not? If it's a conversation, we'll have it. But I think it's a more fascinating topic right now to start sitting back and thinking where some of these guys can land. So we're going to start. We'll start with number 1, and this one we'll start with Pete. Deshaun Watson. Where does he end up? Where does he end up, and where do you think he should end up? It could be the same place, but
I want to say Miami.
Ooh,
it makes too much sense, and I don't. To be honest with you, I'm actually
hard
upset.
as a rock right now, Pete. Crum is hard as a rock right now.
Bro, I almost knocked the fucking tablet down because I just went. I had to do a little dodge like this.
I'm so upset the fact that they haven't. Well, they can't really do it yet, but like you haven't heard the stories because this. All right, you call them up and say, "Huh, Cesario, here goes the picks back that you gave us last year." And for that, you take Tua. And you can have, you can have R1 this year.
Like, yeah, they might. I think they would end up trading at least 2, maybe even 3 picks plus 2 and get him. And I would do it all day.
Hey, you give them your one. You tell Houston, here you go. You get the 3rd pick, and then whatever Miami's pick is, you do that again for the 2nd round.
I'll look up where they're at.
And Tua, and just be done with it.
So Miami this year picks. Well, we already said 3. What the hell is this? So is that where you think he will end up, or where you think he should end up at?
That's where he should. That's the 2nd team on my list where I think he will. First team on my list is probably the Jets, if they're smart.
You think that's where he will end up at?
That's where he will end up at.
I know, I hate it. I'm either gonna
Still
love
an
them
AFC East
or I'm gonna
team.
fucking hate
I
them.
definitely think it's going to be an AFC East team. Put it like that.
All right, so right now Miami is picking third, and they're picking 18th.
Yeah. Oh, yes. 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 Yeah. Yeah.
Two top 20
Because they didn't
picks,
make the
including.
playoffs.
Yep, so they're picking 18th.
Yeah. You do
And
that.
they could also throw them the number 50 pick in the second round. That to me would get done.
Yeah. I mean, you give them Tua, so you get it. You get somebody that you can start right now, or you can even flip Tua again, because then you can take a Justin Fields or whatever. You don't tie yourself to so many options. You know what I mean? Or you can, I don't know, like you don't even. You're gonna say fuck it, Tua, you're the starter. Tua, you're the starter day one, and then you just draft all the shit around him that you don't have. You know what I mean? You draft weapons. So to me, that's a no-brainer. And for Miami, you're not losing too much because all right, if you decide to keep Tua, then maybe you go Devontae Smith or Jamar Chase or Petty Sewell or some shit like that. Maybe you want to go that route and get him some weapons. But this is. Deshaun Watson don't fucking need no help. He showed you that this year. He'll make chicken salad out of chicken shit. You know what I mean? And he's a top 5 quarterback in this league. So that kind of alleviates that pressure. You let the boys on defense just ball out. You figure what they went 10-6 this year? Is that
10-6?
Yep. So you figure Deshaun Watson gives them at least one, if not two, more wins next year. You know what I mean? So then you're talking about competing with Buffalo for the division.
Well, I think too, it comes down to two. If the Jets make the move, Darnold's going to be in the deal. If Miami makes the move, it's going to be Tua. So who do they believe in more? Who can be a guy that could either come in and take over that job while they transition, or at least come in and compete for the starting position?
I can't believe I'm saying this. It might be Sam. Like if I'm Houston, right, I might want Sam. Like I mean, and if I'm Watson, I don't want to go to the Jets. Like honestly, like I want to go to Miami. Like if you put a gun to my head, I want to go to Miami. They're ready to win now. Like the Jets aren't ready to win now. The Jets don't become a 10-win team when Deshaun Watson comes in. They're the same team. They're the same team. They're a top 10 pick team next year again. So if Deshaun wants to win early, the best place for him to go would be Miami, and it would make the most sense. And for Houston, it makes the most sense because you're getting the younger quarterback, obviously, and more to work with Tua. But to win now, I mean, Miami's ready to win. He walks to Miami, and Buffalo, everybody in Buffalo is now scared to death the second he shows up in Miami.
And the other key to that too, for Deshaun Watson, to me, I'm looking at the situation at the head coaching position. Brian Flores over what's it, Dave Cawley? That's night. I mean, I'm sorry, but that's night and day to me.
Yeah.
Brian Flores is, and I know Tom, you're a big believer in him. Brian Flores is a very, very on the rise head coach right now, who looks like a guy who may potentially be a top 5 coach in this league within the next year or two, hands down easily. And to me, he's young, which means if that team succeeds, there's stability there at the head coaching position and at the general manager position, because they have basically reassembled everything there. There's stability, which I think he wants. I think he wants to be in a position where he has a head coach that he believes in, that can be there and can coach for them to continue to win. And I think it's a far and away a better situation. And let's be real. Would you rather be in Miami or would you rather be in North Jersey?
Miami.
It's not like the Giants. This is like in baseball, the conversation of
you're going to
play. Yeah, you play New York, but you play for the Mets. You'll never be the Yankees. It's the same thing with the Jets. In Miami, despite Jacksonville, Miami Dolphins are everything down there. Even though they've stunk for years, the Miami Dolphins are everything in South Florida and really all over the state.
Here he comes.
I mean, he could be the biggest fucking star. He could literally be the biggest star in the entire state of Florida. Hands down, no question. They're not baseball fans.
Dolphins PR team in the house.
I'm just saying. Is there a point that I made that's inaccurate though?
No, not really. I mean, listen, New York is the second fiddle, but it is the Jets, and anybody who has a football feel knows the Jets' history and knows, like Joe Namath made a pretty good career off endorsements being a Jets quarterback if you win. But the other point of it is Miami is ready to win now, and I think that matters more.
And that point that Josh Miller made as well. It's not even just about – and they have pieces on the offensive side. It's that they take that defense takes the pressure off of him too. That defense is a difference maker for that football team. They have one of the top defenses in the league, and they're still young. I mean, I know they had their defense secondary is a little bit older, but they got young pieces on that defense to where that team could be good for a long, long time right away.
I just ask the family something real fast. I'm dying to watch this, and not because I think there's anything insightful coming from it. I am just absolutely dying to listen to this little one-on-one with Dave Spadaro, who I respect Dave tremendously, but let's be real. I mean, this is freaking soft toss in a cage. This is what this is, peeps. This is soft toss in a cage. Everybody looks good. Everybody hits homers. And if you don't look good doing this interview, I start having semi-baby concerns. Now, I say that, and Chip Kelly dropped my drawers his first interview. So you take it for a grain of salt, everybody. That's all. You take it for a grain of salt.
Yep. Chip had you ready to run through a fucking wall, bitch.
Yeah.
So I guess I answered it. I think Miami's the ideal spot, and it sucks because I too feel like it's going to end up being the Jets. I think that's where he's going to land. I hope not. I hope he ends up in Miami. I'd like to see them finally get their franchise quarterback. I just don't. I don't know that it's going to happen.
Yeah, I think it's New York or New England. One of those two. I would say
New England, really.
I'll say Belichick. I'll say we keep on talking about it. They're obviously going to move on from Cam Newton. I'll say they're not high. I don't know where they're picking, but I'll say they might have to trade up to get one of the picks or one of the quarterbacks in the draft. So I'll say for him to have bring a veteran and a superstar like Deshaun Watson, I'll say we keep on talking about, is Belichick really this genius for him to bring a superstar like him and work with him and turn that franchise around after the GOAT has left your organization? I'll say, and plus the Patriots have always been a team, they don't care about dealing their draft picks. If Belichick wants a player, he feels the guy's the right fit for his system and for his team, he's willing to give up those assets. I'll say the thing with Miami, I'll say, is Miami going to want to give up the amount of assets? Plus, I would say I think Deshaun after next season's due $35 million base salary. So I would say no matter who trades for him, that contract could possibly be an issue. It's not as big as Carson because the guaranteed money's not as much. The base salary you can work with, but I don't know. I just have a feeling. I would say Deshaun, as much as he wants out, he's going to try to dictate where he goes, and he's going to want. Why else wouldn't you want to go to a Hall of Fame, possibly the greatest coach of all time, with Belichick and the Patriots?
Well, to respond to a couple of your points there, Miami and the Jets are reportedly, and we say reportedly, speculation, his two desired spots, and I don't believe that New England can get it done. Because the Jets and the Dolphins both have young quarterbacks that they can throw in this deal on top of the draft capital. New England does not have the draft capital that Miami. But
I'm saying, are they willing to give up that draft capital? And plus, do the Texans even want Sam Darnold, or do they want Tua? We don't know that. We don't know who they want as their quarterback.
If you could get 3 picks in the top 50, which they can get from both the Jets and Miami, and you could take a quarterback that you can have a flyer on for a year while you rebuild that team, that's a hell of a lot better than the 15th pick. That's all the Patriots have to offer is that 15th pick.
Yeah, but you got to look at this. This is what nobody wants to talk about. Go look at Deshaun Watson's cap hit, his dead money. Yeah. Listen. Deshaun Watson can yell and scream from the fucking rafters where he wants to go. That's all well and good. It's a business, baby. And this dude's it's like a $60 million dead cap. Come on.
I think he'll restructure his deal if he wants to get out of that bet.
I think you're all crazy. The way he runs around and stuff, I don't think anybody close to him is telling him to give back money either. It's a business for him too. You got to run
next year.
Check.
Next year, his salary is not that high. He's still in, I believe, his rookie contract. He's only cap hit for $15 million with a $5 million signing bonus. It's year 2022 is where it starts getting pretty hefty for whoever trades for his services, because he's base salary is $35 million in 2022, 2023, $20 million, and then if he has potential out, I don't know if it's a team out or out there, but years after that, he's due $32 million in 2024 and 2025.
What's his
So
cap?
I'll give you a sleeper team real quick. Sleeper team.
2021, it's only 15.9.
How did I think it's bigger? Is that 22 that's bigger?
They're saying his cap hit's 15.9, but then there's a dead cap hit of 67 because of all this, because the signing bonuses and all that would fluctuate through the years. Then,
yeah, wow. Yeah.
So whoever trades for him, they don't have to be on the hook for the dead money. That would go to the Texans.
That's what I mean.
Yeah,
I don't know why the Texans might say, "Hey, stand right here, buddy, for another one," because this was any good.
You do that if you get a young quarterback back. And the thing between Sam and Tua, Sam is on what? Isn't this his last year of his rookie deal? So you can see if Sam got it or not, and then you can move on. With Tua, it's a little bit different. But give you a super team, San Francisco. I think San Francisco, because I don't feel like Jimmy G's the answer there. And this is gonna sound crazy, but at the end of the day, would you rather have Deshaun Watson or would you rather have Nick Bosa? You know what I mean? Nick Bosa, it may be a trade that you've never seen before. Nick Bosa, Jimmy G, 2 number 1s and 2 number 2s for Deshaun Watson. And that gives something for Houston to really think about. You got J.J. Watt toward the tail end of his career. You get Nick Bosa, who's another former number 1 overall pick. You get Jimmy G as a quarterback, and you get picks at the same time.
Yeah, but can Houston take back that money? Like, that's the question mark. Like it's a one thing.
That's true.
They say, hey, trade Tua, give him the 3rd pick, give him the 18th pick. But with a $67 million dead cap, are they even able to take back them assets in year 1? Them assets meant to come more year 2 and be talking about 2022 picks, because they might not be able to afford to pay. Like, 6-7 million, I don't know where their cap situation is right now, but I'm sure they're not in a ton of plus money. So you're talking about that kind of dead cap like that. To me, I don't think any owner trades a player unless you're willing to sign it. Unless you're willing to come up to me with a check of half that money. Like, I don't think owners are in a business to get smoked like that in dead money. And I don't know. That's the only hiccup. Like, where Houston has it over his head. Honestly. Like, he can say whatever he wants.
But that's what makes even more sense to me then, Tom, for him to go to the Jets or Miami, because and it's what we talked about with Carson, right? If you're going to take that much of a dead cap hit, you need to get the capital back. And to go to Miami and the Jets with the 1st round capital and the high picks in the 2nd round, plus being able to get a young, controllable quarterback back, to me, I mean, that blows anybody, including New England, out of the water, where you can sit back and say, you know what? Next year or 2, we'll take the hit. We can take that hit because you got enough capital back. You can utilize the draft to build instead of worrying about free agency with that capital. To me, that makes the argument for those 2 teams, and that are his 2 favorite destinations. And it's why I always say, the conversation with Carson, there would never, his value isn't high enough that they'll ever get an offer that will justify the capital return to take that dead cap hit. And that's why Carson Wentz will not get moved in the offseason. Without question. I'll say 100% without having any ties to the organization. Makes 0 fucking sense. And if they did, then I'd really have to question Howie, even more so, that you would take that hit and get, in my opinion, and probably most people, essentially nothing back, nothing to justify that cap.
Right.
Because now you can't build through the draft and you can't build through free agency. Not enough to fill the amount of holes that you're going to have. And the amount of holes you're going to have that open up even more so, Pete, because you traded your franchise quarterback, who does 4 out of the 5 years cover up a lot of those mistakes, make those holes look better, puts that little putty in there to stop the leak from coming through the walls.
I thought you can't do that, Molly. I thought you can't move and slide dead cap.
I don't think you can.
I thought you could do that if they're not on the roster anymore. Like if you trade them,
release them,
like a trade exception.
I thought you couldn't if you traded them or released them.
Release, I think, wasn't it 2 years over, like 2 years for release?
I was under the impression that dead cap is
The
dead
NFL cap is one of the most
there's
complex
something
things
I would
that
say
can be simple.
Yeah, I would say it depends. I would say there's certain deadlines. If you cut this guy by this date, you save this much. If they're on the roster, like there's the day bonuses and all that type of stuff. So it just depends. But I think you restructure. There's a way to move that cap around or something. That's how Howie's been getting away with it as much as he has, with basically giving more guaranteed money up front, moving the base salaries around. So there's ways to restructure this. There's ways to restructure this money.
So it comes down to Deshaun saying, "Oh yeah, I'm willing to move money on the back end or switch things around or whatever." But man, yeah, that's interesting because he does have, like Doug said, he does have the no trade, which then dictates that sort of holds Houston then hostage a little bit on who they can negotiate with. So to me, I don't know if this little party might not end well. I mean, this might continue into August. I want to be surprised.
I would.
At that point,
This will be done.
I was saying that he
Deshaun
won't
will
step
be
a foot
moved
on the
before the
field for the
draft.
for Texans again, will he?
What's that?
He won't step foot on the field as a Texans quarterback again, will he?
No.
I don't think it's possible.
I don't think you can come back from this.
As soon as he signed Cauley yesterday, he says, "I'm out." he does not go back there.
Yeah, that coaching hire to me told me they just really didn't give a shit. They're just going to do what they're going to do. And honestly, I think it gets resolved before the draft because that's their best opportunity to move them.
Yeah.
There's too much. There's too much to gain moving in before the draft than to hold on to them and then to roll the dice next year, or even to move them, in August, like in the preseason.
Maybe, but like Pete says, you ever stepping on the field again for him? I don't know. When you start hitting guys' pockets, guys come back on the field. I mean, like they have. All my point is they have the leverage. As much people don't think they do, they have the leverage. It's a young quarterback who is paid for the next how many years? 2, 3?
I mean, you know what, though, Tom? We always say that they have the leverage, but if professional sports over the last 5 to 6 years has proven anything, players got a hell of a lot more leverage than we give them credit for. All they have to do is say, I'm unhappy. Look at the fucking James Harden thing.
Yeah.
All they have to do is say, I'm unhappy. And it doesn't matter what sport it is. The players always have the leverage. And despite how many times we say they'll never be able to dictate where they're going to go or when they're going to get moved, they always find a way to make it happen, them and their agents.
Also, I was saying you're comparing a little bit apples to oranges a little bit when you're trying to compare the NBA and the NFL. NBA contracts are a little bit easier to move around. I would say,
it's every sport though. I mean, look at MLB. You see the same thing. MLB guys are unhappy; they get moved. It happens everywhere.
But I agree. But the contracts are different in sports. The NFL is the only one with a salary cap. So the way the salary cap is, it's not like you can just trade a guy without, like we keep on bringing up, losing a crap load of money and basically
financially short with the salary cap. They all have salary caps.
Well, the only sport with the dead cap.
Yeah,
the dead cap shit.
Right.
Yeah,
I understand that, but because they allow teams to restructure at all points, because a lot of in the other leagues you can't. There's like in the NBA and stuff. You can't restructure a deal until you have a year left on your contract or something like that.
Arbitration.
Every sport has its quirks, but no matter what the quirks are with the finances, the star athletes always find a way to get out.
If you say so, if you say so, it's $67 million. If you say,
it'll happen.
Okay,
it'll happen.
All right. I'm not saying it's not going to happen. I'm just saying I'm just looking at things as a businessman too, in a way. Like we got to think like the suits think for a little bit in these situations and say, and this owner's a jerk off. So what's saying him to say, okay, then don't play football then? All right, I'll fine you every week until you decide to come back.
Every week, it's every day. Any of those guaranteed, any of those requirement days, you get fined like $900,000 a day. So
think about it from a spiteful owner. I mean, that owner's going to get spiteful now too. And I'm not saying it's right. I'm just telling you, he's going to get spiteful now too, and it's going to be a spite fest.
I get it, but in the end of the day, there's always.
When do they make a good move in Houston, Crumb? They don't. That's the problem.
I get what you're saying,
Tom. To get rid of them is smart. Yeah, you can get a bunch of stuff back, but They're not known to make smart moves. It's $67 million.
I get what you're saying, Tom. But at the end of the day, and it always comes to full. They always find a way to get it done because the PR battle alone to drag this out for 6-7 months and go into the season knowing it's out there now. They know that they can make a move with Miami or the Jets. Knowing that you left that on the table and to drag that out because you're just going to be spiteful, not going to work out in the end. They have to worry about that, especially with a team like Houston who needs their fans. They're not. We're not talking about the Eagles or the Giants or the Cowboys or the Pittsburgh Steelers, an organization that has a following, regardless, nationally. Like Houston needs that fan base to buy in, and if they can't market their franchise quarterback for that franchise, their hands are tied. The player always has leverage somewhere. There's always a way to give the owner the reach around when it comes down to it.
Okay. I watch two players get fined all the time in Pittsburgh. So you guys can talk to me about leverage and everything else under the sun. Two really damn good players. All right. Two all-pro players think they got leverage over people, and we saw how that aged for them. So I don't want to hear leverage in the NFL. Leverage in
They
other
got there, though. They got what they wanted in the end.
The Steelers still took $20 million cap hit on Antonio Brown.
They got what they wanted in the end, though, didn't they?
Antonio more of a scumbag deal, but Le'Veon, I mean, just wasn't showing up, and they refused to move him.
But they got what they wanted in the end, Tom. In the end, they got what they wanted, and they didn't have to step on the field.
But they also lost money. That's all my point is.
And they made it back.
Did they? I mean, AB maybe. Did they really make their full value after that? Either one of them? Did they really get their full value? Either one of them? Maybe Le'Veon.
Le'Veon did.
For sure.
Yeah,
AB didn't, obviously.
Well, but that's not for football reasons. That's because he's a dumbass who can't stay on the field because he has all the field issues.
He's
the only thing that gave Le'Veon a deal was a bad organization. Like, you know what I mean? A bad organization overlooked the extra.
But he got it. But he got it, Tom.
I understand, but you're talking about a guy that is demanding out of somewhere and has a no trade to certain places and a $67 million dead cap hit. There's a lot of moving parts that don't make that easy for an organization.
They always find a way to make it happen.
Maybe. I mean, you're just begging for Miami. I see you up there. I see right through you.
I am begging for Miami.
Yeah.
I think I'm going to hate it and wish that he stayed there because I think he's going to end up with the Jets. Yes, I'm begging for Miami. But at the end of the day, the superstar player always gets what they want. And if they want out, they get out. They may not get to where they want to go. To your point earlier, usually they do, but they don't always. Right. But they always get out when they want out.
So, if you look at this comment, I mean, we're going to be looking at our own version of Deshaun Watson in 2022.
Not even close to it. Not even close.
I was going to say, man. I wish the kid nothing but the best, man. But, God, y'all putting him on the pedestal so quick.
Yeah,
so quick.
After 4 games.
So tough. So tough.
Who hurts?
Yeah.
Joel in this chat. You all need to slow the hell down. I don't know what you guys are talking about. I love you all. Appreciate your opinion. But they even put him in a conversation with Deshaun Watson is ludicrous, okay? And downright foolish, okay? It's downright foolish. I mean, Deshaun Watson made Clemson again, okay? Like, Jalen Hurts didn't make Oklahoma a place to go to again. That was Baker Mayfield. So, I mean, just understand that, like, one guy was a pimp in college, and the other guy was like, okay. Like, I mean, and then one guy's a pimp in the NFL, and the other guy's been what? Right? I mean, stop. Yeah. Everybody wants to comp everybody. Like, if he's going to be a good player, then maybe he's going to be a good player. Somebody in the chat said last night, Lamar Jackson. I wanted to fall over. Like, I just don't understand the comps. I don't understand that you think, like, with this guy, we're going to win 11 games because he wears his heart on the sleeve is what people tell me. Or he's a great leader. Like, okay. You got to be able to play a little bit, too. All right? I mean, I'm not doing this tonight. We're good.
Hey, guys, Matt Stafford. Or Tom, you didn't give us yours. Wait, real quick. Deshaun Watson. You think he stays in
He
Houston?
said Houston.
Give you mine.
Oh, of course.
Somebody's got to be on the other side. Someone's got to be the asshole.
So okay then. So moving on then, let's go to Matt Stafford.
49ers.
You think that's where he should go, or that's where he will go, or both?
Well, they're both.
Okay,
Indy.
it's an interesting fit. Indy's that's probably where I'm leaning towards. I think he ends up in Indianapolis. Pete?
Chicago.
Wait,
You're not
You
you're
wanna-
not picking Trubisky anymore?
you want
Now,
to
isn't Trubisky a free
displace?
agent? Is he a rat?
You want to
They're
displace the
going to
goat?
pick up his option this year.
But I can't remember. But even so, I would say the way he played down that stretch, they might give him another shot. Sure, how not gonna go with Nick Foles?
It's either going to be Chicago or I like the ones that you chose as well. But somebody just said in the chat it's a sleeper team. It could be New Orleans. There's so many options for Sean Payton and the Saints to reload and a quarterback that can actually throw the fucking ball more than 20 yards down the field. Not named Jameis. I'm just saying. I'm just going to throw that out there. But it's not too many teams. Like, you got to think about teams that are close to contending that will want to take on this risk to make themselves better. I mean, if you're looking at Stafford, I think Stafford's opportunities on another team are way more. There's more teams, I should say. There's more suitors at the table. I mean, you got people like Pittsburgh that may be interested, people like New Orleans, teams that are ready to win now, but are moving on from aging quarterbacks. I mean, we just think that Stafford is so old because he's been in the league for 10 years. But like Jeff said earlier, he's only 32 years old. You know what I mean? And for the most part, he's been nicked and bruised up here and there, but for the most part, he's kind of been somewhat durable. You know what I mean? So you got teams that are kind of fringe contenders that need another quarterback to go over the top of to go over the hill, and not have to invest a lot. Like I said, Stafford's last 2 years of his deal is only $43 million. So for a starting quarterback in the NFL, $43 million over 2 years, you take that every fucking day of the week, twice on Sunday. You know what I mean? So a lot more people at the table probably clamoring for Matt Stafford services than because you got to be in that special situation for Deshaun. You know what I mean? Stafford's a little bit more palatable, I should say.
Real quick, I want to say the Yams. Though there is people putting him on a pedestal. We've witnessed this in the chat, so that factually happened.
A lot.
I'm not defiantly downplaying his college career, but I'm definitely defiantly saying that he was never a good passer, and in the pocket was never. And to say Deshaun Watson wasn't in college. Deshaun Watson was a way better thrower to football in college, and he is now. He has way better arm strength. This is the biggest knock on Jalen Hurts that people are thinking. It's like Tom's being a hater when I say
Right.
You got to be able to throw the football. You got to have some zip on your ball. He doesn't, and you're small. So you get the double combo of having to be perfect, having to be so perfect with every throw. You got to have a strong arm in this league, guys. When you want to compare him to Lamar Jackson and all these other guys who can run around, like Lamar can't throw the football worth a lick, but he's got zip. So he can actually throw the football. Jalen Hurts doesn't. And it doesn't mean I don't root for the kid. He's an Eagle. I want him to be good. All right? So I'm not trying to say that. But my same concerns in college with Jalen Hurts are my same concerns on draft day, or my same concerns after watching him play. And I don't think that's wrong of me or me being defiant of him or any way, or like putting him down. Like, that's the facts of him. That's the facts. You guys can love him. I want to love him too. But we love Bobby Hoying. We love Kevin Cobb. We loved everybody. I've been down this road. Doug Peterson. Love Doug P. we loved everybody behind somebody. Montana. Really, Hugh? Montana. You guys talk. I can't.
Yeah, I would say for everyone comparing him to Watson, I would say it's apple and oranges. I would say Watson or Hurts played in 4 freaking games. Yeah, he showed some flashes, but he showed a lot of. I would say that he's not. We don't know if he's ready to be that franchise or starting quarterback in this league. I would say at least full time. He's shown that he can start. He's shown he can play well. But Deshaun Watson last season, if it wasn't for being on a crappy football team, he could have been an MVP. I would say talking the MVP talks. I would say he completed 70% of his passes for 4,800 yards, 33 touchdowns, and 7 interceptions with a quarterback rating of 112.4. You cannot compare Jalen Hurts after 4 games, though living up to the hype of Deshaun Watson. Deshaun Watson is a stud. He's a superstar. So,
watch tape.
Is that Chuck's? Is that Chuck's burner account? Watch tape.
Watch film. Richard. Look,
Chuck's.
Rich. 52% completion percentage. That's accurate. That's accuracy, guys. Is somebody punking me here? That's accuracy. What do I need to go watch? I watched him for 4 games. I don't need to go back and watch it again. I watched him struggle with accuracy issues. And what's that? Who's that on? I mean, that's the same thing he had in college. Doesn't mean he can't get better. That doesn't mean any of that. Just stop. You're begging for this guy to be the starter to sit down $128 million. What is wrong with you guys? Okay, are you trying to win football games next year? Because if you are, you really want to get 11 right. The short-term memory in this city is fucking atrocious, and I can't take it anymore. I'm going to have to go be a fan of our team, guys. I'm going to have to just check out. I love Rich. I love all you guys. I might
take a ride down to South Beach.
Might have to. I heard it's great weather this time of year. You know what I mean? I might have to. Unbelievable. And I love it.
Great weather, lots of COVID. All kinds of fun things going on down there.
You said great
fucking
weather.
Fucking virus is having a party down there.
We're not embellishing anything you said. You told saying he was a 2nd-round pick. He went 12th overall. That's not embellishing. That's the facts of the matter. You just tried to make this state for your argument to try to lump him into being almost a 2nd-round pick when he went 12th. Listen, Yams, I hope you're right. Like, I hope in 3 years that all you guys are right. Or 4 years or whenever. If Carson can't play, next year. You know what I mean? I hope you guys are right. And I'll easily come on here and say, I was wrong. I'm not that kind of guy. I want him to be great. It's just, these are there's a reason there's a video up of me, Pete, Chrome, right? Jeff wasn't on at the time, but of us being, what are you guys doing to us right now? You really just took Jalen Hurts? Like, we had questions of him, of being a good quarterback, per se, just in Alabama.
No, so Yams, we're not embellishing this what you said. It's been a lot going on. It's been a lot going on. We just saw one that came in again from I think from Richard. I'm just gonna call you so he said 52% because he threw the ball away. I mean I don't even know what to do with that comment. And the thing is, like, listen, I get it. He showed promise, but I've said this before. If you have to ask yourself, can Hurts be Wentz from 2017? If you can say that after 4 games, then you fucking have a crystal ball. If you can say that after those 4 games, you have a crystal ball.
It's
because
clear.
We don't even know if Wentz, the dude who actually did it, can get back to what he was in 2017, let alone a second-year player. I don't get it. I don't get it.
It's clear Carson isn't the answer either, is what Josh is telling me.
I don't know how you can make that statement. We saw what that dude can do. If he didn't freaking tear his leg, he has in the MVP season. We know what Carson can do. I'll say the same argument he's saying. If Hurts has a better team, he'll play better. Same thing with Carson. If he has a better offensive line, if he has better weapons, if he has a better defense, if he has a better coaching staff that believes in his abilities, we might see the better Carson.
Who is it clear to? Because I mean, listen. Wait. I mean, listen. Oh, Jesus Christ. Who is it clear to? Because even if you put stock in all the national guys, right?
Right.
And you pay attention, all of them say Carson. There's an issue with Carson Wentz that's broken. But if you hear them talk about Carson Wentz, overall, from the first 4 years and then to this year, he is still talked about as a coveted quarterback in this league as a top quarterback, top 10 quarterback maybe now, top 12 in this league, and a guy who was a franchise quarterback. So if everybody else still believes that he can be the answer, whether it's here or elsewhere, I haven't heard any, other than the idiots in this city, and I'm going to say it, who definitively have already staked their flag in the ground and said, boom, he's done. I haven't heard from anybody else with any fucking sense in their brain. So I want to know where it came from. Anybody else have anything to say? Anybody else hear that? I haven't heard that he's not the answer from anyone.
Yep.
Except for people who fucking fall in love with guys after 4 games. The Josh Adams of the world and, the people who fall in love with Boston Scott and think he could be a starter because he plays
Greg
well against
Ward.
the Giants. I mean, I like Greg Ward. I
would say everyone thought he was a number 1 receiver after
well,
that.
I never was that delirious.
Yeah.
I still think he's a decent 4.
He's a suitable receiver but he's not a starter.
Right. All the guys that we fall in love with in this city. The Nelson Aguilars, who still, it's a pass. I don't care what he did this year with the Raiders. In 5 years here, he had 1 good season. 1 good season. And people put the flag down for him on the 1 good season.
Yeah.
Hey, you know who else had a phenomenal MVP caliber season that year? I don't care if he got hurt. Carson Wentz. And he had 3 other seasons to add to that.
And still led them to the playoffs. Besides last year. I'll say this team made the playoffs 3 years in a row. So I'll say Carson.
That rookie year, by the way, they might have made the playoffs that year. When Lane went down, that team was totally different. I mean, literally, you can look at the numbers. I think they may have won every game, maybe -1, take a game away, maybe. Well, Lane started, and every game that he was suspended for, they lost.
Well, anytime Lane's gone, I think they're below 500 when he's missing games. So Lane's definitely a key factor blocking that right side of the offensive line for Carson.
Especially for a rookie quarterback, Jeff.
Yeah.
So, I mean, we're going to watch film. Hey, how about you do your homework and everything you see? Donovan, thank you for the tip, brother. It says Carson Wentz has 1 bad year and he's trash. Exactly. We're all laughing emojis right now. It's hysterical.
I can't. 12 games, bro. Like, I've never seen a fan base turn so fast after 12
This is what
games.
we do here, Pete. We build them up to break them down. It's the culture of, honestly, it's the society. The culture of society. It's the social media culture is what it is.
Well, even before the social media culture here in the city of Philadelphia, look how many times we turned on Donovan. Jeff Garcia has a couple games, leads us to the playoffs. Everyone wants Jeff Garcia to be your new franchise starting quarterback over Donovan. It happens all the time. Everyone's in love with the backup quarterback in this freaking town, whether they're good or not.
Because we're the city of Rocky, and we love underdog stories.
Yeah.
We got to root for the underdog. Fuck the guy who's won all the games for you, who turned your organization around in Donovan,
Right.
who, hey, maybe he's not the most pleasant guy to be around. Maybe if we weren't fucking dicks draft day and booed him out of the building, it would have been an issue to begin with. He should have got over it. I'm not saying he shouldn't, but I mean, we were the dickheads first. Let's be real. Like, we can't take our accountability. Oh, we're Philadelphia. We got to get over it. Oh, we're a tough city. This fucking city. Here's my problem. Okay, we are a tough city, and we hold our guys accountable. But there's also a lot of people in this fan base who wear it like a badge of honor and think that they have to then take it to the next level. That we have to now run guys out of town. We have to test how thick their skin is.
Right.
Instead of just letting them play the game. Let them play the game. Let's set them all behind the 8 ball. Let's let them do what we all have had to do our whole lives and work from behind. Instead of, you know what? This guy's got a ton of talent. Let's fucking support it. Let's make this guy want to be here and put his full effort out. No, we're going to
support somebody. That's funny. Support, Crumb. I mean, you just hit the nail on the head, and I'm all messed up here because I had to leave for a second. I love the family, and I want you guys.
The hat forward and everything, but it's not there.
You can get the same hat, allcampusoc.com. Use discount code HUD for 15% off. hat's freaking. It's a great hat because you can go frontward, backwards with it. Most snapbacks you can't. So here you can. But listen, to all you guys out there, like, stop making up stats, okay, to fit an argument in here. That's not fair. Because then we read them off, and I think they're real for a second, and then I throw a headset down, and I pull Homer Simpson into the bushes. Just want whatever you want, okay? But what Chrome said is so right. It's not even funny. Like, it's not a badge of honor to be a douchebag. It's not a badge of honor. Like, I took no pride on draft night last year hating the Jalen Reagor pick. No pride. You understand? Took no pride in saying, what are we doing? And the only reason I said that is because I never heard of him. Like, I've heard of him, but you understand what I'm saying. Like, I never heard of him to be in the first round. I thought that was
to be a second-round pick. Right. He's a 3-4 grade.
Exactly. That's where I heard him. So, like, when guys that I have watched play at a high level in college get drafted, and it's not him, I get pissed. We took Donovan McNabb as a second pick of the draft, okay? All right? And remember something. If you watched him play at Syracuse, you knew he was a pimp. You knew he was a pimp. So anybody that booed him was just delusional. Okay, and an idiot. So I don't blame Donovan for holding that grudge because we continued to boom as he was winning 13 games here. Keep that in mind too. So we never stopped because we got to hold this over his head. Like what? We don't let anything go. And then we have a quarterback who's a good dude, a really good man, a really good freaking man. Okay, and we never want to break down dudes' characters in this city, right? To make them out to be some type A jerk off. Anybody that wants success, okay, is going to have some type A in them. You understand that? Anybody that wants success, anybody with a sack between their legs is going to have a little type A, especially at the highest level. That has nothing to do with his character. That has nothing to do with the kind of husband he is, the kind of man he is, the kind of leader he is, if people like him in the locker room or not. Has nothing to do with it. Nothing. So you guys put all these things together and want to tear down people that I don't care about. Good Christian man, Muslim man, doesn't matter. Okay? That doesn't make him a good man per se. Because guys can lie about that all the time. But you see that he is, though. You see it. Yeah. Which makes everything else, his faith and all the rest, really define that he's a good guy. He had no reason to come out and do that thing with Rodney McLeod today. Didn't need to do that. Is that what bad teammates do? So, this guy carried this football team last year. I know he got hurt. But stop with the smear campaign, please. The smear campaign over character and everything else that nobody knows. No beat reporter, I promise you guys this. No beat reporter out there really knows. Because nobody inside that locker room is really trashing. I promise you that. I can promise you. Maybe one or two guys, right, that really don't even have a say or a feel in that locker room, maybe. Okay? It's usually them types of guys. It's never your leaders.
The Orlando Scandricks.
Yeah, it's the scumbags that you get the source that you get your
Michael Bennett's.
Like info like this, right? I mean, other info you can get from high caliber players. Don't get me wrong, but usually it's from the crumbs. So whatever.
And it goes to show. I think we got a super chat out there. I think it's from Jeremiah. Thank you for the the donation there. I was actually had the same thought.
Jeremiah.
Cone was talking about the support. Like, it's one thing eventually to put up the statue of Philly. You want to honor your first Super Bowl. But it just goes to show you that once they won the Super Bowl, everybody in this organization started feeling them fucking selves. Started feeling themselves hard because they put the statue up less than 18 months after winning the Super Bowl. And now neither one of those people that are in that statue, which is a permanent structure now, is no longer the fucking team. Like what other organization did you see that does that? You know what I mean? After winning the Super Bowl, like, act like you've been here before. You handle your organization with class in so many ways, but when it comes to winning, it's like you don't know how to handle yourself. You know what I mean? Like, you don't know how to fucking act. Like, it's like the first girl that ever replies back to you and says, "Yeah, you can come over when my parents are out of town." Like, you don't know what the fuck to do with yourself. You know what I mean? It's like you call all your boys like, "Yeah, I was over. What's the fuck? I was there. Like, calm down, player. We've been here before. We're gonna get here again. Not saying the statue ultimately shouldn't be built. This is a time and place for everything, and that's where Tom and Chrome was talking about I almost called you by your government name, Chrome.
Yeah.
But it's like that's what they're talking about. Support. Like, I get it. Wentz ultimately has to put his big boy pants on. But he had to see this shit day in and day out. You know what I mean? Each practice. You know what I mean? Being in a locker room with these guys, maybe looking at them a little weird because, and that's just, I get it. It's one thing. We all go through shit in life. Hell, look, we got the mental health and addiction support out there. But that's hard. Like, your skin can only be so thick. And then now when he got sacked, hey, Richard Shaw, you've been looking up stats. If you still here in the chat, look how many times Wentz got sacked last year for me since you're our stat guy tonight. You know what I mean? So
Most
how many
in the
times
NFL.
did he get hit? You know
Breaking
what I mean?
news.
So
Breaking news, guys. Breaking news.
stop bullshit.
No. Breaking news. Adam Wainwright has agreed to a 1-year deal to return to the St. Louis Cardinals, baby.
Motherfucker.
Let's go.
All right. This guy. Kick him. Can we kick him off?
It was rumored earlier. It's official now. So
Are we gonna do this again this week? 2 weeks in a row? 2 weeks in a row?
Always.
You just took all the steam out my train, Chrome. Because I'm like, you said.
Let me take that
Adam Wainwright,
last bit of steam. 2011, brother.
Tom, please. I can't. Tom is beat up because he keeps addressing this with you, and I don't even know what to say. I can't put it together because you're the farthest thing that looks like Rafael Furcal ever. I can't. You look more like Roy Halladay than Rafael Furcal. I don't know how you went down. Well, you already know how you went down this road to become a St. Louis fan. I get it, Ozzie Smith. I get all that, but you've had ample amount of time to come back to the pinstripes. Ample time.
I like to taste the victory. Sorry.
So in our run, let me ask you a question. In our run, did you not go to Philly games? Did you not participate? Did you not cheer? What were you feeling at this time?
When the playoffs started, I was asked, "Are you going to root for the Phillies or the Cardinals?" And I said, "I will root for the Cardinals, and if they beat if the Phillies beat them, I won't be a guy at a parade. I won't do any of that. I will honor it." But then we won, so I didn't have to worry.
I'm not talking about 2011. Let's talk about 2008, 2009.
Oh yeah, I
2007.
How many different teams do you like?
If the Cardinals don't win, I want my friends to be happy, and my friends are Phillies fans. I'm
Oh,
fine
bullshit.
with that.
You want the party. Who are you kidding? Who the hell are you kidding trying to lie to us? You want the good times, babe, and that's fine. But don't try to act like I just want you guys to enjoy the parade. I'm sure I can find videos and photos of you prancing around.
I got a picture with Jason Stark behind home plate at the parade in Citizens Bank Park, baby.
Did you have a Philly jersey on, Chrome?
I had a T-shirt on, yep.
See, I know you. I know your truth.
One of those people.
Listen, I never shied away. I am a diehard Cardinals fan. I will never.
You're a Cardinals fan. You grew up a Dolphins fan. Do you stick to any loyalty to any of your teams?
I'm still a fan of the. I've never wavered from the Dolphins. Anybody here can vouch for that. I have been a fucking Dolphins fan despite the 27 quarterbacks they've had since Marino. But I mean, I'm not like a hardcore fan of the Dolphins anymore. They're my AFC team. Like I have one basketball team, I have one hockey team.
Right. Real quick in this chat, listen to Richard, Shally, to Jens, them. Nobody is Listen, this may be your first time watching. If it's so, thank you for being here. But listen, if you're going to continue to rock with us on Thursday night, go back and watch our archives. You can listen to us on all digital media streaming platforms. We do not protect Carson Wentz. We're not saying that he didn't play like shit. All we're simply saying is, if you want to transition from Wentz, 4 games from Hurts isn't enough to fucking do it. And if you're basing your decision, what we're talking about in the presence right now,
off of 4 games,
not sold to hand the reins over to Hurts. I have not seen enough. I think I can speak for all 3 of us here. We have not seen enough. So when you say you've seen enough, we're questioning that. No one's sitting there saying like that Wentz is hands down should be number 1 starter. That's probably the direction that they're going to go because that's where the money takes you. But at the same time, ultimately, if it is a competition and Hurts beats him out, then Carson has to deal with that shit. But we'll all be the first ones here to say Wentz was a problem last year. But Hurts isn't I haven't seen enough to say Hurts is the answer. That's me. So
Yeah,
I can't.
Smoked Wentz on here plenty of times, so I don't know what people want.
So, all right. So we're being asked to finish the quarterback free agency real quick. I don't know who else.
Yeah, we're running low on time. I mean, that's kind of big quarter. Do we want to go through? I mean, we can really dive into it next week. Let's.
I mean,
Aaron Rodgers.
who's the other big one out there?
Yeah, there's really no other veterans. All the other ones are the rookies.
Yeah, I mean, there's other quarterbacks that you could discuss though that could be on the move. So maybe we'll save that part for next week and we'll really dive in deep.
The only other one, Big Ben. I mean, they said he has to take a pay cut to come back.
And Fitzmagic.
Yeah. Big Ben's returning the Steelers. Let's be real. He'll restructure his deal to go play with the Steelers one more year. He's not going to go out the way he did this season, going 11-0 and a first-round playoff exit.
To downplay and discredit the best beard in professional sports is an absolute disgrace, by the way, Pete, and I'm really disappointed in you. And, by the way, most fashionable, one Ryan Fitzmagic, Mr. Clutch.
Mr. Clutch, he couldn't even keep his own job for his team. That's
Mr.
Clutch,
Have
right?
a nice time, Mr. Have a nice time at home in the offseason, John Gruden. Hey, I got something for you. Twist my fucking head off. I got you. We're good. The beard perseveres. Don't you ever disgrace and discredit him. You should be ashamed of yourself.
I feel more for him that you're the one that's standing up for him more than him himself. Does that tell you anything?
I mean, listen, I do think if he was healthy, not with the coronavirus, I think that I don't know that they would have won that game, but Tua would have sat a lot earlier, and that could have been a whole different ball game against Buffalo.
Yeah, could have been.
And again, I'm not saying they would have won. I mean, they lost by fucking 30 points. But might have had a whole different ball game because I think they would have sat Tua pretty quick. They had no choice. They had to roll with him, and he didn't answer the call at all at any point in the game. So, anything else good for the cause, gentlemen? Before we sign off for the gentlemen of the Hockey Happy Hour?
No, I mean, what time is the presser tomorrow, Jeff? I didn't even know they announced it.
12 o'clock, 12 noon.
That'll be a good little
intriguing
midday
presser.
distraction while I work.
Then they need to get rid of the freaking Pro Bowl. No one's watching the virtual Pro Bowl this Sunday.
Oh,
Pro Bowl is
once
the
they get out
dumbest
of
shit
Hawaii,
ever. Really, the only All-Star game that's amazing. Pete made it through a whole show without saying "bitch." That is true. I'm proud of you. I mean, I still look down on you for your whole disgrace of Fitzmagic, but you know what? That's a nod to you. I'll tip the cap for you.
Thank you, sir. Cheers to the water.
Yes. But guys, this was a lot of fun. Great show. A lot of fun stuff coming up the pike for A2D Radio and for some of us here. So this is all of us. But this was a good time. Missed Chucks this week, but hey, I'm sure he'll be back next week. We'll talk about NFL honors. No? Nobody's excited?
Oh, yeah.
Sure.
We'll have our Super Bowl predictions next week as well. And again, Jeff, welcome to the crew. We're happy to have you on Week Now with us. To all the fam who commented in Facebook, YouTube, Twitch, Periscope, Twitter, we appreciate you guys. And listen, pound that likes and subscribe buttons. Give us a rating. Comment in. Share with your friends. Share the shows on your pages, guys. Yeah, you guys drive us. You guys are what helps us grow. You guys have been phenomenal with that. We ask you to continue to do that. Help the algorithm out. Help your boys out. So thank you guys for everything that you do. And thank you to our sponsors. Obviously, Dr. Paul Vidal, Specialized Physical Therapy in Burlington, Cherry Hill, New Jersey. Find them on the web, specializedphysicaltherapy.com. No appointment necessary. Make sure you guys are hitting up the dock. Get yourselves in the best peak physical condition that you could possibly be in. When me and Tom are getting old, Pete, you're a little younger than I thought, Jeff, so you're still good. But we got some aches and pains, man. We got to get shit taken care of. And again, for all of you guys out there, it's a really tough time for a lot of people, really daily, but particularly right now. And, we all know people, or it could be ourselves, who deal with mental health issues, addiction issues. And we are very, very proud to support the Counseling Center and Sunrise Detox. So please, if you or anybody needs to have an outlet and somewhere to reach out to get the help that you guys need, please call that number 856-651-8117. Let them know that Tom and the family here at A2D sent you, because we care about you guys and love you guys. Rob, our boy Rob over there does a great job, and we're very, very proud to be associated with them. And obviously, All Campus OC, get your team hats and soon to be A2D apparel from allcampusoc.com with the discount code A2D. It's going to get you 15% off. So make sure you guys are pounding that discount code in there as well. Get your time. And hey, Tom said it last night. If you don't have the hat that you want, they don't have the team you want, let John know. Yo, you place an order and get my shit in, get it taken care of, right? And also, hey, if you guys are Ocean City visitors in Ocean City, New Jersey, the physical location on the Ocean City Boardwalk should be opening in the next couple months, pretty soon. So look out for that as well. But for myself, for Tom, for Jeff, for Pete, love you guys. Appreciate you guys. Jump over to the Hockey Happy Hour. They're going to be starting in about a minute to 2 minutes. So take care. Have a good week. Take care of yourselves. Take care of each other.
Hey.